Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And today you are on the stream, the official legal team of the alt-right racist transphobic bloc of the Gestapo'd internet. And with me today is my very special racist, transphobic, alt-right, Brazilian jiu-jitsu wielding guest, Hero Hei. Hey, buddy, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much, Nick, for having me on this wonderful show.
Well, it's my pleasure. This has been quite the day. And every day is quite the day. Every day is quite the day. As you know, like, this thing is moving. How long does it feel like you've been covering this topic?
It feels now like probably a month, or it feels like double what it is, because it's got to be, what, almost 3 weeks, but not quite?
Yeah, not quite 3 weeks. I mean,
double that.
I think my first show on it was something like it was very preliminary. It was something on like the 12th or the 14th. And then I really started digging into it. You know, no, it wouldn't have been the 12th or the 14th, because it was just the 16th when Broly came out, right? Or was that January 16th? Okay.
Yeah, that was January 16th.
So it would have been. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look up when Rooster Teeth let it go, because that was when, like, it really kicked off. I made my video the next day, so that was February 6th. I've been covering it since the 6th. They cut him on the 5th. Okay, so 22 days, but I mean, and I think I'm a little behind that. So probably 18 to 20 days. It seems. Oh, so you are at 3 weeks. It seems like so much longer, because it seems like every day feels like 3 to 4 days to me. Yeah, there's so much to cover. There really is. It's like some days, like, where do you even start?
Yeah, actually true. Where do we even start on some of these days? And so with that, let me talk about what we're gonna do today. I have this hunch. I have a hunch that there's a certain company out there that could be called cockdentures or rooster teeth, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter. Boner canines. I don't know. Rooster Teeth thinks maybe that they made just enough of a statement that they are immune from litigation. I have a feeling that Rooster Teeth has, like, thank God we've played our cards right. Vic is only going to be able to go after, these voice actors or Funimation, and who cares about those people, because Rooster Teeth will be protected. And so I want to ask some questions about Rooster Teeth's.
You sound so excited. You sound so excited to ask the questions.
I love asking questions. And I love the fact that the people watching this show are a mix of the evilest of Nazis. And we have, spanning the spectrum, all the way to the control left loonies on Reset Era. Hi, Reset Era. How are you? Hi, pretty ugly little liars. How are your little commie boards doing? Here's the thing, sweet cheeks. If you think calling me the blackface lawyer or calling me alt-right and reporting me to the bar is going to work for you, when it hasn't worked for anyone else, because lawyers operate under a set of rules, and part of that is a firm adherence to the Constitution and the First Amendment. So even if your misconstrued versions of reality, like where you think I was practicing law in blackface, or that I, like, pour liquor on clients, or whatever delusions you guys have out there, even if they were true, they wouldn't be very effective, because they're not true. But in their untruth, they would still be protected speech and expression, because I don't have an attorney-client relationship with you or with anybody that you know. And I'm not in litigation against you. That's the funniest part of all this is I can say whatever I want because I'm just like anybody else. So as long as I'm not lying about you, you can, I guess, persist in lying about me. But I tell you, I know a very good law firm that you guys think is not litigious. Like, you think they're not litigators, even though I flat told you they're litigators. All of them. But you read their bios and you think you understand what's going on there. You think they're not litigators, but trust me, if there are bar complaints coming against me, I have a feeling I might know more lawyers who could defend me and then retaliate against you for trying to use the force of law to shut down my free speech than you do. And I probably don't have to pay them. So, I don't want to play games with people. I just want to comment on things online, just like you idiots do. The difference is, of course, I'm not going to lie about anything. So, please, I guess just carry on watching the show and enjoy. And maybe consider that at every single step of the way, the internet lawyer who doesn't know what he's talking about keeps being correct. And consider that if you just call an attorney, you might get out of this. Because that attorney will probably say, oh, dear Christ, we should call the other law firm as soon as possible and try and figure out how to keep you from having to raise $40,000, $50,000 in litigation. You all think this is like cheap, but just ask guys like Dick Masterson, pulled into an absolutely frivolous lawsuit in New York. He had to spend something like $25,000 defending it, and it was defeated at a pretrial dismissal motion, and no, he wasn't able to win fees.
And it still cost $25K.
And even if he had put up that, even if he had been able to win fees, he would have had to put the $25K up front and maybe get the fees back out of the deadbeat who sued him later. You guys, you live in a fantasy land because you may have read a Wikipedia article or something, but you don't seem to understand how this works. And here's a guy giving you free advice on how the system works, suggesting over and over, maybe I should get an attorney.
Well, you know what's funny? Here, cheers to that. Let's get a drink. Cheers to a good show tonight. There we go. The funny thing about that is Rooster Teeth, in their content ID system, it's kind of complicated for making content on what they do, but they state that their lawyers are always very busy in that disclaimer. So, I mean, if they're already busy, then they're gonna not like what's happening potentially.
Yeah. So let's let me do this. Let's pull up Rooster Teeth's original statement. I'm going to talk about this because I've mentioned this statement before. So let me pull it up here. And you and I will be off the screen for a minute as I pull this up. So
all right. Am I going to see it too, or should I pull it up on my
own? It'd be best if you pull it up on your own.
All right.
I hate the screen share function because it puts things in weird places.
That's all good. I'll pull it up.
And people who put things in weird places are terrifying. Anyway, that was a weird joke. And I know, Hero, I need to ask your permission for one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
The last couple streams, I've been really bad at hitting super chats like on as we go, and they get really far behind. So I'm gonna try and do that in a more regimented way today and really hit them, because what I've noticed is people have questions that are relevant, and I'm missing those questions in context. So I'm gonna try and hit those every now and then. So
yeah, I mean, you're already behind almost 20, so I mean, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. Good problem to have. Again, all of them will be read. All of them will be read on stream, and I will try and do it more as we go, rather than just backloading it all at the end. So you don't have to stay through the end to get your question answered. But you should stay through the end, because that's when the jokes really get good. As I'm drinking Mahina Hawaiian rum, which tastes like Christmas spice and liquor. All right, so this is from 3 weeks ago. Their post is titled Vic Mignana. says, effective today, Vic Mignogna is no longer a part of the cast of RWBY, Ruby, and Rooster Teeth is ending all associations with Mignogna. This will not affect the creative content of Ruby. And then they have an update here. We in the RT admin team have always supported civil debate on the site. Now, mind you, this post has 2,700 comments on it. I've always supported civil debate on the site. Recently, we've seen less than civil conversations and debates around here, and we ask you to keep the site terms of use in mind when you are posting. If you believe a post violates a term of use, you can flag it for moderation attention by clicking the little flag at the bottom right of your post. However, posts not violating the TOU should not be flagged, and repeated flagging of posts simply because they do not agree with your views is not acceptable behavior. For more information on what constitutes a flaggable post, see this thread and feel free to contact an admin through direct messaging for clarification of any points. Now, I love that the top comment is from 3 hours ago, and it says, Nick Rekieta's stream tonight is going to be about Rooster Teeth's part in the Vic situation. This should be very interesting.
That's funny. Yeah. And that's an old tweet too, isn't it? That's from way back?
No, 3 hours ago. Just 3 hours ago.
And the Rooster Teeth one though, right?
Oh, the Rooster Teeth one, yes, is from 3 weeks ago. Okay,
Did someone commented on that today?
Yeah, people have been commenting on it constantly. Like I said, there's 2,700 posts a day ago, 2 days ago. We've got this one. This one's good. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a confirmation from SGSAMI that Ty Beard worked for the United States District Court and has worked for the NRA. This attorney has some amazing qualifying credentials. Vic is going to win this. And then a video about the legal team. I haven't even seen this video. But yeah, so let's put that to bed. But there's a ton of activity on it. I don't know what their other posts look like. I don't really care, but I assume there's a lot more traffic on this one than their average post. Okay.
Most likely, yeah.
So here's the deal, though. I have repeatedly said that Rooster Teeth made a better statement than Funimation. Funimation included allegations of, first they included evidence that there was an investigation, they said, following an investigation, and then they added an addendum stating that they don't support or condone harassment of any kind. I've maintained the entire time that Rooster Teeth, their statement of just we are no longer working with Vic Mignogna, is a superior statement to make in an employment discharge situation. Funimation, I don't think people realize, because unless you've been watching this show, and maybe even not then, how baffling it is for a corporation to make a public declaration about firing an employee and then to take and follow that up with including that it followed an investigation and that they don't support harassment, because those statements make no sense from any standpoint. You don't
why do you think they even did that? Do you think it was just like the social media guy just kind of took it on their own will, he or she or whatever? You think it was them, or do you think it was?
I can't imagine. Now, Evan Stone is the attorney for Funimation, and Evan Stone has some meme to his career, but in reality, Evan Stone looks like a fairly competent attorney. He's been doing it a long time. Anybody who's been an attorney for over a decade and hasn't been disbarred, that's good. He does have some sanctions against him and stuff like that, but it's mostly because he's kind of aggressive in some of these piracy cases. Because that's his passion. His passion is finding pirates. Like Maddox. No, that's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. It took me a second there, honestly. I was reading something. That was funny, though.
I couldn't... I really don't mean to in any way like besmirch Evan Stone. He seems like a fine guy in all honesty, but this is just for fun. We make jokes. So anyway, I have to imagine that he had no idea that statement was being made. I have to imagine. Because any attorney in Texas who you said, we're going to make this statement, their first question would be, why the hell would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just not do that?
What happens for a lawyer when the client does something that makes their case like infinitely harder?
You suck it up. You try to adapt and mitigate, and you pretend like it had your full endorsement, and now you have to deal with it. That's rough. That's what you do. It's rough. Your clients do things that you don't want them to do all the time. All of my criminal clients, all of them talk to the cops before they call me, and then I have to deal with that fallout. It makes the case so much harder. In this case, I mean, Funimation talked to the cops. Rooster Teeth didn't say as much. But here's the real question for both of these companies. You're in an at-will employment state. As you will hear over and over on Twitter Law School, you are at an at-will employment state, and Rooster Teeth and Funimation could fire Vic for any reason they want other than him being black, basically. They can just say, you know what? Vic Mignogna's hair is nice, and we hate him. Gone. They honestly can. They don't have to make a statement about it. And that's the baffling thing about both of these companies is neither of them had to say anything. Because it's just voice actors and a casting decision. As far as I know, there were no existing specific contracts with them. They're just at-will employees sitting there. There's not like a new solidified formal agreement that they had. I mean, maybe there was, but as far as I know, basically Vic was an at-will employee of both of these companies, and they had to make zero announcements about anything because it's just a staffing decision. I mean, does Walmart make an announcement when they fire a manager of a store or a cashier or anything? No, of course not. Of course not.
So do you think maybe they thought that the people, like the general public that was supporting Kick Vic, do you think that they overestimated how many people like wanted Vic kicked and that they kind of took the message a little further, maybe thinking maybe something like that?
I think that they, based on the evidence I've seen, have miscalculated every single step of this debacle. Every single step has been a miscalculation, a misstep. I think, yeah, exactly what you're saying, that they looked at this and they're like, surely we're on the right side of history, right? We're on the right side of history. We'll be just fine. We can make a statement. We can, and then Rooster Teeth, doesn't go as deep as Funimation does, but they still make a statement about we're firing Vic too, just so you know. I think they were afraid of the backlash from the other side and are now facing the reality of the backlash from their Vic fans. So that's that's my theory. Now,
I mean, it's probably the most accurate theory. I mean, otherwise it's just like a social media person did whatever they wanted, and that seems highly unlikely in such a sensitive topic as that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that the Funimation had they did not ask their attorney. That's what I got to go with, because the only alternative to them not asking the attorney on Funimation, so they just got a PR or social media person, or even if it's one of the executives or whatever who runs their social media as a hobby, they tweeted it out. They didn't ask their counsel, because the other alternative is that their counsel is flatly stupid. And I don't do that to lawyers until I know for sure. Like Landau, I know that Kevin Landau is an incompetent attorney. I know it in my bones. I've read the documents. That guy doesn't know what is going on at all. Evan Stone, I haven't seen that. I've read some of his cases. It's not like he's the greatest lawyer in history, but I don't see anything that says he's anything other than competent.
And if you don't mind just reiterating for me being a pleb and whatever plebs are in the chat, this is the lawyer for who?
Evan Stone is the lawyer for Funimation. Kevin Landau is the lawyer for Maddox, and that's a separate issue. But Kevin Landau is honestly, woo, you got to research that on your own. We don't have time. Okay, so let me read some of these chats real quick, and then we'll start hammering into why I think what avenues that would be available for going into Rooster Teeth. And we'll see if their little bubble of security is great. Okay, Keck7Go says, Nick, I need you to draft a lawsuit against Hei for ignoring my super chat in his stream. I want my $5 back, or for Hei to explain the plot of Ruby to Nick and why Bumblebee is problematic for the story of the series. Your choice, anime man.
The plot of Ruby is that there's 4 lesbian girls that fight monsters. And what was the other question?
Why Bumblebee is problematic for the story of the series.
Bumblebee is problematic because it splits the main team of 4 up into teams of 2. There you go. There you go. Not scammed. What's up?
It's a team of lesbians that fights what?
Monsters.
Oh, all right.
I'm half kidding. I'm half kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like, the bad thing is I can't tell.
No, that's the meme answer I give whenever someone asks, like, how would you describe RWBY to someone? I always go with that because it's kind of a joke. But I mean, it's actually becoming kind of true though. That's a whole other topic. The Bumblebee thing is named the ship between two of the main characters, Blake and Yang. So that's why it's actually half correct.
Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so Keck is now satisfied. Nintendo Luigi says, been pre-gaming for 2 hours now. Drunk AF, ready for my nightly dose of Vic Vindication. Get those lying bastards, boys. You guys are doing God's work. Thank you. We will get them.
Hell yeah. Cheers.
Lord Rap of Rap Mountain says, what is your opinion on Japanese whiskey? I love it and wish it wasn't in a shortage. Schwann's Gruberman says, been waiting for this for a while. I'm drinking some Baron Samedi rum. Have you tried it? If so, what do you think? I have not. I'm not a huge rum guy, but I have this Hawaiian rum, which is pretty good. Lizard King says, you're a good man, Nick. God loves you. Thank you. Darian the Ghoul. Matt Omega says he has proof that Jamie arrested. Okay.
I think that's a troll. People were saying that in my stream too.
Yeah.
There's nothing on it. More people were saying it wasn't true.
Yeah. Exactly. Great. Good troll. Hilarious. Unless it's true, then that's more hilarious. Mythos Irving says, you are late, you ASS. Also, however, you can legally please give $50 to Vic's legal funds in my name. Well, I can't give them in your name. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. But I can give them on behalf of, or like something. I can't do it to the GoFundMe. A lot of people, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. A lot of people have been asking about donating to your own GoFundMe because of Jamie Markey, and I'm not making an opinion on Jamie Markey stuff, but I can tell you with lots of confidence why I won't be contributing to the GoFundMe itself. Richie Gonzalez says, I brought this up with Tug, but I think it's a good idea to get some of the other YouTubers covering this into the High Council roundtable discussion. Dan Fan and Lost Pause comes into mind. Okay. I mean,
Lost Pause, he's got like 1.2 mil subs. That'd be pretty lit. And Dan Fan, I think, is the girl, but I don't know too much about her. I think I know who that is, though, but I haven't talked to her personally.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them, so it's hard for me to... I can't, like, communicate with them because I don't even know who they are. No offense to them, it's just not, we've never connected. Tautologic says, glad to finally catch you live, Nick. Got to donating to the GoFundMe because of you. Thank you for fighting the good fight. Thank you for donating to that. I really appreciate it. The Texan83 says, thoughts on the Skeza GoFundMe? That's Jamie Markey's. Leave it be, but if possible, check with the charity when payment is made to see if there's any discrepancy between the final GoFundMe amount minus fees and what the charity got. That's again, I'm not interested in that GoFundMe and fighting that. To me, it's almost like a Jamie Markey has made several honeypots, right? Like saying her husband is a higher up at Funimation, saying that Ron Soye is an employee of Funimation, like saying that to try and commenting on Dominique Sky's post that she is in HR at Funimation. Those are honeypots to get people to buy into a narrative and then to make fun of them. So I almost feel like her GoFundMe is a honeypot because it's probably legitimate and they're probably wanting people to target it so that they will get, some publicity out of it. Freddy says, is anime heresy? Well, yes. Blazy, and we're going to go 1, 2, 4, 5 more, and then we'll move on. Blazy and Domo, hashtag I stand with Vic, says, first time on this stream, looking forward to what you have in store for us, Nick and Hero. By the way, pre-order Devil May Cry 5. The final trailer is dope.
Wait, that was from Domo? Blazy and Domo?
Yes.
Hey, good to see you, my friend.
Kiara Hardy says, Jamie's on Twitter lying about Texas law about a few minutes ago. Oh, good. We'll have to pull that up in a little bit. Richard Ty says, people keep saying Vic didn't get lawyers to sue. Oh, remember, Mars Girl's friend, who is a lawyer, who says that Beard and Harris, Bullock and Hughes aren't a litigation heavy hitter. I'm sure he knows. I'm sure Mars Girl's California attorney knows a whole lot about Beard, Harris, Bullock and Hughes. Okay, I run with that theory. Run with the theory that Vic didn't get lawyers to sue and that he's just hiring them for contracts, which makes a ton of sense. A ton of sense. A Crux says, "Hail the Emperor." Comrail says, "I have questions for Rooster Teeth as well. Like, do they want soup or salad? You know, the important details for this litigation." Very good. Mega Vigoroth donated but didn't leave a message. The Kilted Privateer, rather happy to be catching one of these live. Question, what's your favorite guard regiment? Well, the Taineth first and only, my friend. Wayfarer says, "Nick, there's so much interest in this because frustration has been building for so long. A line needs to be drawn somewhere. People sense in this finally, the drawing of the line. I hope so. I hope so." And finally, Midnight Jazz says, "You're hilarious. I never dreamed I'd be giving money to an attorney for entertainment. What a world we live in. Keep fighting the good fight, Nick." Thank you. Thank you very much. I never dreamed that you would give me money either. but again, the world is changing, and there are a brief sidebar. The left has been fighting the culture war online, right? And Gamergate and Comicsgate, and there's this. The right is pushing back, but I think we're a lot funnier than them because they're so dang depressing to listen to. Have you ever listened to one of them? Like, were they whispering into Kurt Cobain's ear? Like, is that what happened?
I mean, it's half depressing and half scary. I mean, some of them are legitimately scary. Like, I heard Ellen Page going off on somebody, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, but they're so either dour or filled with this fake outrage. None of them are funny or entertaining. It's all just anger and sadness, and it's really, really depressing in a lot of ways. The alt-right, the official alt-right is a lot funnier than these people because we get mad. We still can tell jokes, and we're not afraid that the joke might hurt someone's feelings a little bit, because we know those feelings are manufactured and they're fake. Okay, sidebar aside, let's start getting into this thing. So again, for those of you just joining, my working theory on this is that Rooster Teeth thinks that they are immune to litigation because they made a statement that is very neutral. And that's a good position. And I want to be very clear going into this. Rooster Teeth is a much harder target at this point than Funimation. That's a reality. That's a reality. Rooster Teeth itself, and as far as I can tell, its executive team have not made any public statements about Vic Mignogna. So what do we do? What do we do? Any theories, Hero?
Not really, man. I mean, my specialty is anime, not really suing people. So, I mean.
Okay. So here's what I've got. Now, tell me who this guy is, because I'm looking at his face, and he's got some sunglasses on. His name is Miles Luna. Who is Miles Luna?
He's one of the main writers on RWBY. And he might be involved with some of the other projects, but the one I really know about is RWBY mostly. Okay, he's also a voice actor for a character named Jean Arc.
So he is. So he's a voice actor. He's a writer. His credits somewhere said he's also a director, and that's a weird kind of term because I don't know what a director of voice acting does.
Yeah, well, he's more so a writer. The character he voices is not like a main character, so he's definitely more involved with the writing than the voice acting aspect.
Sure. Okay, so here's a writer and voice actor, and here's a problem for Rooster Teeth. We'll just calls it like we sees it. This guy is a problem for Rooster Teeth. So how do I? Oh my goodness. Let me get where's my grabby hand? Where's my grabby hand? I'm probably doing this all wrong. Yeah, failure. All right, we'll do this way. We'll go left to right.
Yo, Matt Omega in the chat. I'm not even by that phone right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, here we go. Here is oh, I don't have this centered. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. Sorry. So this is, of course. Now, okay, clear something else for me up. Is Monica Rial also an employee of Rooster Teeth?
As far as I know, no, she's not.
I heard she voiced stuff at Rooster Teeth.
I mean, we could find out pretty dang
Can
quick.
you
Yeah,
can
I
you
got
check
you.
on that? Okay, so here's
Rooster Teeth
regardless.
does have a new show named Genlock, and they did bring on some new people. So let's see. Maybe she's voicing someone on Genlock. I don't see anything about it though. No.
Okay. I may have bad info on that.
Oh, you know what? There is. She did voice Sienna Khan, who was a character in Ruby, according to Wikipedia. And Sienna Khan, literally, here's why I didn't know, dude. Sienna Khan was in like one scene and got killed off like instantly, and then she was brought back for like a little flashback sequence for a couple minutes. That's it.
Okay, so she has been employed by Rooster Teeth. When was that? Do you know?
Sienna Khan was around in Volume 5, and there was the flashback thing was less than a year ago. So yeah, but then she was maybe working on that this year, or 2018.
Someone is saying she is a VA for Genlock.
Oh, well then I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but I don't see anything on the Wikipedia about that. Let's see.
Okay, but either way, let's we can operate on either theory. Either she's an employee of Funimation. I mean,
I think she is on Genlock too. Yeah, she is.
Okay, so she's on Genlock. That's a current show.
That's currently airing. Yeah.
So here's the problem we've got. Ignoring the fact that, I mean, Monica Rial is one of the accusers, has been openly vocal about Vic. She might even be enough to drag Rooster Teeth into this. But let's go. You can't just have one thing, right? That you'd never, as a lawyer, you never go into something with one ace up your sleeve. You always bring as many aces as you can find, and you got to drop it onto them. So Monica Rial has been making statements. We know that. The rest of Rooster Teeth has been pretty quiet, except for two people that I can identify. We've got Miles Luna and we've got Shannon McCormick. So we're going to talk about both of those. Miles says, so Monica says, it happened to me. I'd hoped it wouldn't come to this, but here we are. I don't owe you anything, but if it'll stop it from happening to someone else, then so be it. Miles replies, thank you for being strong enough to speak about this. That's kind of innocuous. In a vacuum, this is an innocuous statement. Here we've got another one. This NUE at button smashing, whatever that means, says people still demanding proof after Funimation decided to recast Vic after the allegations were investigated. The police and Funimation aren't required or obligated to share them with you, blah, 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 blah. Miles says, well said. So here we have another statement. And again, in a vacuum, kind of innocuous. But here's where it really starts to come together for me. This is what I hammer on. Miles, responding to Monica in a different thread, says, we're all here for you if you need us. And then this guy, whoops, I keep wanting to scroll, sorry. Kevin James says, you know Vic better than I do. You two know Vic better than I do, so I can't completely disregard your stances on him. However, there's been no proof provided nor an investigation taken to support the allegations. Your quick termination of him is incredibly disappointing, and I have unsubbed my membership to RT. This is the stupid tweet that he has to come back with. You had it right when you said, you two know Vic better than I do.
You shouldn't even reply to that. Why do you even reply?
Because these people are broken.
I don't know. Yeah, something. They have an ego or something. Like, why even? You should just know when to just be silent and just let things play out. And wait to strike. You
know? Let me do an impression of Rooster Teeth's attorney. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Just
yeah, seriously,
for the love of God, shut up!
Pull the hair out there, seeing what they're doing.
So this guy takes it upon himself to go ahead and to defend the Whammons or whatever he's doing. These women, who, by the way, again, it's such an easy meme to say that you have to defend and believe women. But the reality of this is that these women are thrusting themselves into the public space, into a hostile situation. And oh, believe the survivors. I'm sorry, but if all of the women had just reported to Funimation and Rooster Teeth and then shut their dumb mouths, if they would have just shut up, they did believe the women. They believed all women until you decided to do victory lap after victory lap around his career's corpse. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. So That's the problem that you're having, is that you've taken it out of the privacy of that corporate investigation that you're so fond of talking about, and then you decide to you're just basting him in his own blood. It's ridiculous. And then you do that publicly, you're gonna get pushback, and people are gonna wonder why. Like, okay, you apparently took it to some level of authority, right? At least his employers and your employers, and if that was that, then that's that. Then you get him out of the environment. You don't have to work with him again if you don't like him or you think he's toxic or if he's an abuser or whatever. But they couldn't stop there, could they? It's about killing the reputation. It's about salting the wounds. It's about spitting on him. And then from their sanctimonious pulpits saying, you know what? If you just admit to the rape, we'll stop squeezing your nuts. Right?
Oh, man.
That's what they want. That's what they want, because they know at that point, if they can just break this guy, they can just break his spirit down enough to where he says, you know what? I did it. I did whatever they said. Just please leave me alone and let me get back to work.
And that might have actually happened too. I mean, if Vic wasn't getting as much support as he's getting from everybody, maybe he would have actually gone down a path like that.
Yeah. Oh, I think that was. I think, and Cuck Soye admits making a phone call to Vic, and that manipulative pile of trash. Here he is calling Vic the worst level of assaulter ever for his weaponized hugs. The worst assaulter you can find, and implying that even the most ridiculous stories are true. Implying that all that is true and that he just needs to get help, that poor soul, and then we'll help him, and if he just take my call, but then he didn't take his call, so now he deserves, now forgiveness is off the table, right?
He gets all mad and he retweets the IO9 article
yeah.
that same day. He doesn't answer, he retweets it. It's so ridiculous.
And he explains that he didn't call me back. Oh, I'm sorry. Did your man crush not call you back, Becky?
I really wouldn't be surprised if even Monica leaves him down the road at some point. I would not be surprised at all.
Oh, I mean, well, I'm not going to comment on whether or not that would happen, but that guy does not seem appealing to me in the slightest. And doing that, trying to play on what they know about Vic being a nice guy who doesn't want to go through this stuff. And they're how duplicitous are you? In the same sentence, you say he's really a nice guy. He's just made some bad mistakes that involved rape, right? Like, how is that your? Yeah. Well, here's the dichotomy. He's a really nice guy, but we get a little choked up on the rape.
Dude, that shit is ridiculous, honestly. Like, Shane was going off after. He's like, I do like Vic. And then, like, same thing with Emmett, who came out that story a few days ago. He's like, I do think Vic's a nice guy. He's just a little unconscious about personal space or something like that. It's like, dude, how can you honestly say you think he's a nice guy when you literally just made like a whole letter that could ruin his life forever?
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
It's because they're trying to toe this line, and you'll notice this on Twitter if you're talking to the right morons. The right morons are out there trying to pretend to be like they're anti-Vic centrists. They're like, look, we're just trying to have civil discussion. You guys are all just acting very immature, and you're being very mean about it, and blah 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 blah. As if this is like just a minor dispute about some ephemeral political opinion, rather than someone's career and life and reputation being ripped apart in front of everyone. It's just some academic discussion that we're engaged in. But okay,
yeah, how they can go from that to that on the flip of the switch, it just baffles me.
Right.
You were saying
Well,
what?
I know how they can do it. It's a lie. It's a lie. They don't think Vic is a good guy. They don't, because if they thought Vic was a good guy, they wouldn't have gone about it in the way they did. And if they thought Vic was Vic wasn't a rapist, they wouldn't be endorsing the stories that they endorse.
I mean, I don't know if they do think if some of them really do think he's a nice guy though, and they still did this to him, that might be even worse. Honestly, I don't even know. At that point, it's like we still thought he was nice, but we still thought he was a perfect target for us, so we still said screw it.
Right, absolutely. So anyway, so getting back to this, we've got we've got these people trying to play on Vic's emotion, and then I think, you know, they're just hoping he'll roll over. He'll roll over and die. He'll admit his wrongs and go away. And I think what's important, I mean, if there's any way that Vic ever sees this, I hope he understands that you apologizing to these people never, ever works. It never works. The only way you ever come back from any allegation against the control left, or from the control left, is that you have to join them more vigorously than they join themselves, and then apologize years later after you've built up your control credibility, and only then might you have a chance. But you can never apologize. It will never be enough. They will never let you back in. They don't want you there. If they wanted to let you back in, they wouldn't have knifed you in the first place. They just, it's a lie, and it really disgusts me that they're going with this.
Yeah, never apologize to an SJW. Never.
Right.
By the way, do you know about Jen Brown?
No.
All right, we'll talk about that when we run out to talk about it, I guess.
Okay.
She's
yeah.
on Ethan said some stuff.
Okay, good. We'll do that in a minute. Let me do another round of chats, and then we're going to shift from Miles Luna into Shannon. What's his face?
McCormick. And I'm gonna use the restroom real quick while you do that. I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Yeah, sounds good, buddy. Okay. All right. Son of, man, buddy, you have the hardest name for me to pronounce. Son of Mictlantektuli or whatever. So who is smarter, a baby or an SJW? Yeah, definitely the baby. Also funny seeing you try and say my name, why I chose it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Palix Tobin says, Nick, I didn't betray the law. I am the law. Zamcast says, Shane lost because his argument effing sucked. Forever229 says, why should I believe an internet lawyer, SMH? Darkman McEdgeface says, you're the hero we deserve. Law might. Blaine says, my main Twitter was suspended for inciting violence by asking, is that a dude regarding Renfamous? I denied the allegation and await the response. Vacuum, take Renfamous out of it. Is that a dude? Twitter is so cucked that asking if that is a man is inciting violence, because Twitter is so pro-violence towards men that Twitter will refer to that as incitement. Like, the mere suggestion that someone is a man is that they deserve violence. That's Twitter's perspective. How embarrassing. Mellow E says, brown Nazi awaiting your orders, my Führer. Off topic, Ralph is taking time off from streaming. Is he in jail again? Bible thump. No, I don't think he's in jail. I think he was on a stream today. John Albert says, hey, Nick, would you do live stream calls like Hero? Yeah, I do want to do a call-in show. I actually want to set up an exclusive stream.me call-in show. I think that would be fun. And that way people could say whatever they wanted. Richard Ty says, go beyond law might. 06902. Thank you guys for keeping us updated. You're welcome. The Anime Collector says, my wife is listening to the stream. Tell her I love her. The Anime Collector's wife, he loves you more than his anime. I hope. TK says, I love this channel. You, sir, have the best law show ever. Thank you for your fearless vigilance. I don't know if it's the best, but I will definitely, I'll take the reign of being the most fearless law show. Brammerhammer 23 says, RT, Rooster Teeth and Anime News Network are silencing Vic supporters. They banned me. Of course they did. Ni Ryong says, I ain't no Nazi. I'm too conservative for that. Haha. But seriously, thank you for what you do. I'm tired that people can destroy lives with a tweet without legal process. It's nuts. It's nuts. I will always support freedom of speech, but accept the consequences. I will never accept the consequences. Lily Liver says, Hey is a fake Nazi. He should be using Aryan Jiu-Jitsu, not Brazilian. Also, congrats on receiving my first Super Berry. Keep up the good work, Nick. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be your first. And I hope it lasts a very long time. Blue Grave says, checked in my fridge for legal advice. It said to give you money. That's a wise fridge. Ajna Palm says, how did Funimation, a much larger and most likely have more lawyers, make a worse statement than Rooster Teeth? I don't know. Welcome back, Hero. let's do 1, 2, 3. We'll do 5 more, and then we'll go into Shannon McCormick. Darian the Ghoul says, I have blue hair, yet I hate SJWs. What does that make me? Well, I guess woke?
I'd like to comment on that one too. I mean, I used to be a punk back in the day, and I don't know, it just sucks because when we were punks, they all like cool ass hair and whatnot, and it's like that whole thing got taken over by SJWs and like ruined. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's they ruined so many things. They ruined so many things,
and they're not trying to stop anytime soon.
Like even Femen ruins female nudity by trying to couch that in some social justice message.
Oh yeah.
Sakaki Onzai says, honestly, at this case, I think all avenues need to be explored. All companies, conventions, and individuals need to be discovered, investigated, and in the end litigated. That's how you get rep back. I agree. The trick is getting to that litigation is really, really challenging. And in Texas, the reason we're talking about this, if I'm not clear, Texas has the Texas Civilian Participation Act, which makes any defamation case difficult. It's an anti-SLAPP statute. And if they can defeat you because you don't make a prima facie case of defamation, if they can defeat that, then you have to pay their fees. So you definitely want to beat that Texas Civil Participation Act. Now, a competent attorney who is not named Michael Avenatti is going to build a prima facie case that defeats the TCPA. That's the trick. If you're not Avenatti, you can do that. Or you don't do it, right? Like you don't bring suit frivolously in Texas. It's a rule. Oh, wait a minute. Someone's asking me to check Twitter DMs. Okay, I'll do that in a little bit. It's about Monica. Monica. And then, yeah, so getting Rooster Teeth, we've got to beat the early dismissal. We've got to beat the anti-SLAPP statute. This might be an interesting time to mention something. I am considering taking on some very non-thanked and unpaid interns on this case. And what I mean by that is if anyone out there would like to, who is a licensed attorney in whatever state, would like to help out with my sort of collating and sorting of this information, maybe be interested in writing some briefs that can be passed along as friends of Vic to Vic's law firm. I want to remind people, as much as people don't believe me or whatever, I do have a direct line, not only to Vic's law firm. I can call the senior partner of the law firm and talk to him. I had to talk to him to set up a GoFundMe that uses his lawyer's trust account, right? Like, it's not like I just made up that I can talk to them. So if you're interested in working on this case and you are a licensed attorney, Texas is great, but other jurisdictions are helpful as well. Please contact me. I would love if you'd like to do some pro bono work to reduce the financial pressure on Vic. I would love to talk to you and tell you how you can do that. And I would love to talk to you with full privilege involved in that discussion, and not just on YouTube. So please direct message me and get in contact with me if you are a licensed attorney who would like to work on this case in a tangible way, in a way that can help Vic. Please do that. Okay, finally, we've got, let's see. Bloodthirster Barry says, hey, bud, last stream literally made me laugh so hard the chicken I was eating came out my nose. Oh, that's horrifying. Hope Vic sues everybody. Forever229 says, better than Shane. Am I right? Everything's better than Shane. Poor Shane's chair. Keck7 Go says, can they fire Vic for being gay? He is quite fabulous. In Texas, you probably can still fire someone for being gay. You can in Minnesota, which is weird. But many states have not actually adopted sexual orientation as a protected class yet. But that said, in federally, it certainly has not. All right, let's get back into this. Let's go to Shannon McCormick.
All right, let's do it.
I think I have this lady pulled up.
Lady.
Shannon's a guy. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I know. That's why I don't know. It's still funny. That's why I said it.
Yeah. Well, I'm transphobic according to some super power weirdo in Arizona. I'm transphobic. Like I fear no tranny. How dare you suggest that? Besmirching my good name.
You see one, you run the opposite way as quick as you can.
No. I'm not afraid of anybody, much less actual transgender people. I don't care what people do. Oh my goodness. He's retweeting. Shannon McCormick is retweeting Renfamous. So that gets
man, these people just keep going lower and lower.
I'm trying to find his woke thread. I know it's in here, and I know he hasn't deleted it, but
I'm looking on it too. I don't know which one we're talking about though. I mean, there's so much stuff he posted.
Okay, here we go. I think I found it.
What date so I know which one to look at? Like,
February 20th. Oh, here's one. Yeah, okay. The grift is amazing.
Oh, that one, yeah.
So let's start with that. But he has a different one too. He has a different long one that's going on.
And this is February 20th, you said?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up on the stream. I could screen share if that's more convenient.
No, it's all good. I'll find it. Go ahead, continue, and I'll find it.
All right. So he says, the grift is amazing. I have retained the services. He's speaking as Vic, I suppose, here.
Got it.
I have retained the services of a time machine so I can go back and not be as screwed as I am currently. Won't you help me fund my time machine? Let's take this slow. And I bet you tell that to all the boys. First, that's because it's a girl. It's not a gay joke. First, what's the end game? What's the desired outcome? Get jobs back, have court-ordered reconstitution of broken relationships with at least 2 companies, and everything just goes back to the way it was? That's literally not going to happen. Okay, Pumpkin. Let's talk about something very important here. You are a voice actor. Funimation and Rooster Teeth are corporations. Corporations with investors, shareholders, and both of them have parent companies and bottom lines. Get jobs back, and having the court-ordered restitution of broken relationships is less likely. But have everything go back to the way it was? Here's a tip, y'all. If a business wants to avoid litigation with another business, the best way to do that is to do business. If you don't want to be sued over the way you conduct business, just do business with the other company again. Vic is I don't know his corporate structure, if he's a sole proprietor or if he's an LLC that operates his voice stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. The business entity, the voice product of Vic Mignogna being put out by the business entity, wants to do business with Rooster Teeth. And if Rooster Teeth does not want to lose money from bleeding out subscribers or from losing distributors or for their product being less desirable, and they want to avoid litigation, oh my God, you just hire back the guy and retract any statements and say you disavow the voice actors out there who shouldn't have said a word about this in the first place. That's how you do it. Doing business is always better than doing litigation if you can manage that. So if Vic comes to Rooster Teeth and says, you know what? I'm willing to forgive all of this. Let's game this out. I'm sorry, let me take a step back and let's game this out. If Rooster Teeth is dragged into litigation, it's not happening in a week or a month. It's happening for a year, maybe 2 years. It depends on all of the facets coming into place. It's a year to 2 years. It's $200,000, $300,000. What do they pay Vic Mignogna a year? Like, honestly, it's one voice acting job that he does, and I've heard that the vast majority of these guys' income is convention appearances. So how much is he making? What is Rooster Teeth paying him? Rooster Teeth can make a promise to hire back Vic Mignogna. Who knows when they'll even do it? Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years down the road. They don't have to promise a time frame, I don't think. It depends, I guess, if they want to work out. But all they have to do is disavow the statements of rogue voice actors that Rooster. Hold on. Rooster Teeth. You know, when you saw their statements, you shoved your head in your hands, and you went, why in God's name won't they just shut up like everybody else? You know you did that. All you have to do is just say, you know what? I don't care what they say. We can just back off of that and let it slide under the rug. Promise to hire Vic or whatever they're asking for, and then avoid $200,000, $300,000 of litigation. What did it cost you versus what are you saving your company? And that's only if you win litigation. That's if you win, it's 200 to 300K. If you lose, oh my God. The risk, the downward risk of this is embarrassing. You're high-end risk. Noodle this out with me. Your high-end risk is hiring Vic back. A voice actor, I have to imagine, is something like a comic artist. And does Rooster Teeth have any massive productions? Like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Broly or Dragon Ball Super Broly is a big production that was engineered to make money, right? Do they have anything like that at Rooster Teeth, Hero?
They have like, I mean, I don't want to say on the scale of Dragon Ball Broly, but they do have a ton of shows and like series that they do. Yeah. But they don't like focus on one specific thing. They don't put all their effort into one thing. They have a bunch of different stuff they do.
Yeah, it's like a serialized production, right? And Vic's on Ruby.
Yeah, and I believe that's it, or he was obviously.
Yeah, someone I did see said that he was supposed to be on Genlock before all this happened.
I don't know. I mean, I could see it, but I don't know.
Yeah, okay, whether or not he's on Ruby and Genlock, or if he's just on Ruby, they can't be paying him. I mean, I can't imagine they're paying him more than 20, 30 grand a year on that stuff.
I also, I don't know if it's true or not, but I do believe he recorded his lines for Ruby at his house and would like send it. But I don't know if that's true or not.
That's what I've heard as well. And let me just say, I've heard that Vic has been to Rooster Teeth Studios once in 15 years. That's what I've heard.
I would not be surprised. I do know they've been to like panels together though. They're like more than one occasion, but yeah, that's different though. What would happen if Vic didn't what would happen if they offered him to come back and he didn't want to?
I mean, if it depends. Yeah, I guess if Rooster Teeth offered to have Vic come back and he didn't want to, then I guess it would depend on what he wanted. If he wanted to go for litigation and go for the throat, that would be up to him. Mm-hmm. Funimation, maybe.
Do you think that could be a bargaining chip though? Hypothetically, if he didn't want to return and he, they were still worried about litigation, he could kind of use that to try and get more of a settlement out of court?
Oh yeah. Yeah. If Vic didn't want to return, he could certainly use that for negotiation, try and settle it out for money, for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm operating under the theory that Vic wants to go back because here's the impression that I get of Vic based on his statements, based on what I see on the comments on the GoFundMe and stuff like that. I think Vic really wants to connect back with his fans.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So here's what I've got from this. These allegations have been bounced around for 10 years. Taking that argument as true, conventions didn't purge Vic 10 years ago, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 year ago. They didn't do it. So there are these allegations bouncing around conventions. I bet now some conventions may have not invited him a year or two. I don't know. I've heard rumors about that, but I don't know about that specifically. So, but even if that's true, these conventions, I guarantee you, are operating under this particular cover. Particular cover is, well, he's still employed at Funimation. He's still employed at Rooster Teeth. He's still making shows, and fans still want to see him. So even if we've got these allegations, I mean, is that enough to disinvite a big money draw? Because they're drawing people to their convention. That's what they want to do. That's why you bring a Vic Mignogna or Monica Rial. Well, maybe not her. That's why you bring a Vic Mignogna to your show, is that you want people to come, and he is a huge draw. So whatever they say now that the cultural zeitgeist has turned against him, they didn't for the past decade. and they quote all apparently knew about it. Oh, it's just a known thing. I think that's being overblown. But
oh, for sure, there's no way. I mean, you know, at least in my opinion, there's no way. I don't know for sure what happened. I don't have all the facts, but it just seems highly unlikely that it's not being blown out of proportion somewhat.
Right, right. So I think it's being blown out of proportion. And either way, even if it's not, they were using the fact that he was with these production companies as cover. So here's my theory on this, is that Vic will probably want to win over those production companies. Very sincerely. Vic may even be willing to take a financial hit and say, I'm not going to go after you for costs or whatever like that, you know, or any sort of compensation on the companies, because if Vic gets in with the companies and is producing the stuff, cons almost have to start bringing him back. And if the companies come out and say, you know what, our internal investigations actually didn't uncover anything, like let's hypothetical this one. Let's say there was definitely an internal investigation at Funimation and Rooster Teeth. And let's say that the allegations in those investigations, like the really damaging ones at Funimation, the worst of the worst.
The worst aggressive hug out of all of them.
Right, like the maybe he kissed someone at work. Ooh, maybe he kissed someone at work. Maybe that happened, or something like that. Maybe that investigation occurred and they thought it was inconclusive, and then there was some subsequent thing, like a backlash from their voice actors, like almost like a legal conspiracy between their voice actors, and they communicated to the executives that if Vic wasn't going to go, they were going to go. Now, let's say that happened at Funimation. Now, let's say Rooster Teeth did an investigation, and let's say their investigation came up with something really ridiculous. Like, let's say Vic said some off-color joke or something like that, and that was the worst thing their investigation came up with. But Rooster Teeth decided to let Vic go because Funimation had let Vic go, and because they were under the same pressure that the VAs were. They're like, it's going to be hard to sustain this on any sort of internal investigation. Texas is an at-will state. We just don't have to talk about it much, and we can let him go. Let's say that happened. Here's the problem. We've got voice actors who work for Rooster Teeth, as I've stated, coming out and saying all this crap. We've got Rooster Teeth making their statement. Wasn't it the same day Funimation made theirs?
No, Rooster Teeth was, I don't want to say a week before, but it was definitely a good number of days before. I mean, Rooster Teeth was what, on the 5th, February 5th, I believe? And then
5th or 6th.
Yeah, I think it was the 5th, because I think I may be on the 6th. So let's go with 5th. And then, do you have the Funimation thing pulled up or no?
I don't. But was he actually fired from Funimation when they made their thing, or was that later? I've heard that's later.
That's a good point. I don't know, actually, yeah.
I've heard
that was on February 11th, so that would have been 6 days later.
I've heard that Funimation fired him and they made that tweet a week to 2 weeks later. But I don't.
So that would mean he was terminated before Rooster Teeth did, because it was a 6-day difference.
I think maybe, and I'm just spitballing here, I think maybe Rooster Teeth had corporate communication or heard through the grapevine of VAs that either Funimation had already fired Vic Mignogna, and if Funimation fired Vic Mignogna, of course Rooster Teeth would know about it immediately. I think they either heard about it from the VAs or they heard it was going to happen from either the VAs or from the executive team over at Funimation, or from some HR person or whoever said, we're cutting ties with Vic Mignogna. You may hear about this because we have overlap in employees or whatever. That corporate communication would be really, really embarrassing, I bet, because that corporate communication might indicate collusion to destroy a man's career. When their investigations turned up, nothing. Just maybe. And Rooster Teeth, if that's what you've got, I think you might want to rethink the idea that you're immune from a lawsuit.
What would support your theory would be Vic was on a panel I'm trying to remember. I really don't remember when, but he was talking about when they were first bringing people on for the Broly movie, the voice actors, and he said he didn't get a call right away, and he was starting to wonder if they were not going to use him for Broly again, which he's been playing for years and years and years. So it was just interesting that he said that, and of course that he was on a panel saying that before this all went down. I forget when, maybe November or something.
Yeah, that's entirely possible that was a thing. The problem with these two companies is that there's an incestuous overlap between their voice actors who are going to be passing information that is highly confidential, right? We have heard over and over again from the Twitter law experts working for Funimation and Rooster Teeth just how confidential and protected by the Fourth Amendment or whatever stupid idea that guy had. Just how confidential these things are. They don't know it to you. They don't know it to anybody. Yet, shockingly, within days of each other, these two companies independently let him go and independently make statements that they didn't need to make. I don't buy it for a second.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah. I mean, that's why I was really questioning the Funimation investigation. I looked into that a lot, and it just seems very shady.
I would put money that there is evidence of cross communication, of potential collusion, and of what we could certainly at least passably convince a judge at the onset is tortious interference. And maybe it's backwards. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Rooster Teeth conducted an investigation and the pressure came on Rooster Teeth first, and Rooster Teeth let him go, and then they sent corporate communications, or their voice actors leaked corporate communications to the executive staff over at Funimation. Either way, do you guys want that out in Discovery? And here's one final thing for these companies to consider, and then we'll get back to Shannon. You both have been through litigation. Rooster Teeth, you've been through litigation. Funimation, you've been through litigation. You have never been through litigation where there are probably 6 to 10 YouTubers begging to go through every single document for hundreds of thousands of people. You have never dealt with this terrifying animal of bad PR. And believe you me, Rooster Teeth, Funimation, believe you me, if this goes to Discovery, Discovery is public, and I will get those documents. If I have to drive down to the Texas courthouse that it's in and pay by the page, I will get them, and I will live stream your stupid emails to the entire earth. I will do it. You don't want that? You know you don't want that. You've never had to deal with this much publicity in a lawsuit. And the only way you get to avoid that publicity is by maybe thinking sensibly on how much this is going to cost you financially and how much this is going to cost your reputation with your fans. Your fans are your lifeblood. Don't try to moral police them. Just give them what sells, because that's how you do business, and deep down you know it. Deep down you know it. But
that's an interesting thing, because I remember, I think it was the stream we did yesterday. I think we had a bunch of people. Someone even said it's almost like these big companies thought that the YouTubers would be on their side, because it's like, oh, they're the big shots in the industry. The YouTubers must like look up to us, and surely they'll be on our side, right? But
yeah.
If they thought that, they misplayed.
Even the mentally handicapped people over on Reset Era and Pretty Ugly Little Liars thought that the anime community would just rally around this position. I read one of the funny posts was how many anime YouTubers have you guys had to unsubscribe from because of their
they had a post like that?
Yeah, because of their toxic taste, take on this case. Oh,
that's hilarious.
You all miscalculated, you fools.
That is hilarious, man. Those websites sketch me out. I'll only go on that from like my phone. I don't know. Those things are sketchy, man.
Yeah, I don't do it. James Jones says it sounds like blackmail. It's not blackmail, it's a promise, baby. It's a promise. If it goes Texas Discovery is broad and deep. There's never mind. Texas Discovery is broad and deep, and discovery absent a gag order, which is really hard to get when you don't have anything actually privileged in there, and will be limited probably to redacted names at best. At best, that's all public information. And like I said, I'll drive down to Texas. I'll bike down to Texas with Kevin Landau on a tandem if I have to get those documents.
Oh man. I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn it. Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
Let's get back to Shannon's Twitter tirade, because I think this is important.
Oh yeah, we left off in the middle of it. That's right, literally in the middle of that whole thing.
Yeah, I only read 2. I think there's 5 or 6 total tweets.
Yeah.
I love these people. It's like, thread, here it comes, and then they lay out truth for you. It's like a bad spoken word audition or something. Okay, but maybe restoration of how things used to be isn't the goal. Maybe it's simply restitution of one's good name, etc. Okay, cool. So who are you going to claim wronged you? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
You really want to know the answer? You really want to? All right, get ready. Everyone, paper, big sheet of paper for that.
Everyone who fabricated stories in an investigation and then later fabricated all sorts of other stories. Anyone who corroborated a statement that they really probably shouldn't have corroborated. Anyone who misinterpreted a hug or playing with someone's hair or something like that as a sexual assault and maybe embellished the story about the hair playing to include some tongue in the ear garbage that they're talking about. Maybe those people, maybe that's who wronged him. Maybe it's an anonymous Twitter harlot who can't see, who has to crowdfund oil changes. Maybe it's her. Maybe that person who has no apparent interest in Vic Mignogna other than that he's quote unquote gross. Maybe that's who wronged him. Maybe it's someone who's, by their own admission, never been assaulted or in any way wronged by Vic Mignogna other than you happened to be in an elevator with him when he was hitting on another woman who went to his room with him by your account. That made you feel gross. Human interaction made you feel gross. How embarrassing it is to be as lonely and sad that two people going to spend the evening together is gross to you. But whatever. Okay, if you think you know, you better be ready for discovery. Spoiler.
Oh my god, he really did say that.
Spoiler, it won't get that far. Oh, that's so cute.
Oh my god, I can't believe this.
You sweet summer child, what do you think is going to happen in Discovery? And more importantly, what discovery do you think is going to come from Vic? Why would Vic have evidence of other people's claims about Vic at conventions? What do you think he's going to have to produce that will be so embarrassing? You're saying that he groped someone or whatever at a convention. You think he's got an email about that? Do you think he has a text message about that? What's your plan for Discovery? Because Texas Discovery is broad and deep, but it isn't senseless. You still have to articulate it relative to the claim in question. There has to be probative value to the discovery. And you have to articulate and allege that. Spoiler, it won't get that far. I mean, again, these guys are still under the they've always been under the opinion that Vic is not going to be competently counseled. Getting past the initial motions to dismiss, making or past summary judgment, Discovery is not hard to get to. Actually, lots of times you can do discovery during a motion to dismiss because sometimes that discovery can supplement claims made in the motion or in the counter motion. So there you go. Try to stop being a Twitter lawyer. You're not very good at that.
Hold on real quick. Tillip, your mod Tillip said 122 subs to 40K. If anybody's watching the stream that's not subbed yet, hit that subscribe button. And let's get to 40K tonight on this stream, guys. That would be
great. And then I'll do the 40K for 40K stream as soon as I'm back from Texas.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be a ton of fun. Go ahead and subscribe, especially if you want the Vic news. Okay, And why not? Now here you go. Here's how you know the big brains are coming out. And why won't it get to discovery, he says? Because what is the crime you think you can bring before a court? None. None. That's the problem. There is no crime here. These are non-criminal allegations and accusations. And
wait, we just hit 40K?
Or just like that? No.
Did we really hit it? No?
No, I don't know. Someone says...
Oh, they're just saying, okay, they're just getting...
106 to go. They're coming in. They're coming in, though. They're coming in.
We'll get there.
So thank you. So here we go. Why won't it get to discovery? What is the crime you think you can bring before a court? None. There's civil cases. A case of libel slander? What is libel slander? That's not a criminal case, for one thing. I mean, there are criminal defamation statutes in various jurisdictions. RICO? No, not RICO. I mean, maybe RICO, but it's not RICO because this is a civil cause of action, not a criminal one. So we aren't bringing RICO causes of action here.
Can you explain RICO briefly for us?
RICO is let's see, racketeering something, criminal organizations. RICO statute was created to fight, oh, we got 40K.
No way.
Thank you guys.
That's what's up.
Oh, that's fantastic. I appreciate that.
Nick, man. Hell yeah. Thank you everybody who subbed just like that. I appreciate that too, man. Thank you for the support for my homie here.
Yes. And again, just as a favor back, of course, Hero's link is also in the description, and make sure you sub to him. This guy has been hitting this case very hard. I mean, you come here for the legal stuff. You got to go. He's on the stream because he knows everything else that's been going on. Like, I'm bringing the legal opinions, but I'm bringing in the guys like Hero, Tug, Yellow Flash. They help me understand the goings on day to day, and that's why Hero's here. So make sure you sub to his channel. It's down in the description as well. He's putting out excellent content.
Well, I certainly appreciate the shout out. Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so RICO was created during Prohibition. The point of RICO is to go after organized crime. So we're not talking about like mobsters here. They're hung up on this conspiracy thing because they don't understand the terminology. But RICO is not applicable. It's never RICO. Quote Ken White, it's never RICO. Like, this gets laughed off of any docket it goes before. That's not how it works. And of course, it doesn't even get into anti-slap. If you don't know what anti-slap is, look it up. You should look it up, Shannon. You should look it up.
He probably like just looked this up for a few minutes before he made this post.
Right. I could actually articulate the elements of the Texas Civil Participation Act, which is their anti-slap statute. We're not going to do that right now. If you want to learn more about it, go find out why Michael Avenatti, while representing Stormy Daniels, lost to Donald Trump and lost their anti-slap motion. It's all laid out right there. Anti-slap, you just have to make the prima facie case for defamation. She didn't do that. She didn't make a prima facie case. So
I just want to say a quick thanks to the people that are also subbing to me. I see you guys going off in there and still talking about the 40K. So yeah, thank you guys for both that. Much appreciated from all accounts.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. So then here we go. Like, seriously, I hope some bozo tries to sue me. I'm just some dude observing people playing themselves online. That's been the entirety of my online conversations. Has it? Has it? I mean, you are calling it a grift, and a grift is a loose phrase. I mean, I could probably put together an anti-slap survivable lawsuit against you myself, Shannon, but I'm not going to. Don't have any reason.
I mean, if he's a part of the company that terminated Vic like this, that's under scrutiny right now, is he really just some dude? Or at that point, is he, when he's taking an active role in what's going on, posting about it and all that, is he really just some dude at that point? Or I
sure would love to depose Shannon McCormick and ask him what participation he took in the investigation, in the internal investigation. I would love to find out if he either levied, repeated, or backed up any of the complaints against Vic Mignogna. I would love to know that information, Shannon. I would love for Vic's lawyer to know that information. I bet Vic's lawyer would happily add you in a subpoena request and force you to submit to some sort of deposition under oath where you would have to weigh out whether or not you should disclose your level of involvement in that internal investigation. And I would hope and pray that you didn't make an accusation in that investigation that was someone else's story. I would hope and pray that you weren't just backing up something like that if you participated. I don't know if he did or not, of course. But let's say this. But why I really say it's dead, my head slicer metaphor yesterday, homeboy effing corroborated huge chunks of events on the record.
What record? I would love to see it.
We would all love to see whatever record that was.
That's what we've been trying to get from you guys for like a month now, dude. Just show us anything that supports what you guys are talking about.
And then here we go. I was there. I did this or that, but thought it was consensual. That's his corroboration. So I think what he's referring to is Vic's statements. And a lot of big brains are latching on to Vic's 2 statements before the statement about the GoFundMe and lawyering up, where he basically said, I'm sorry if anybody had an unpleasant experience with me, right? That's not corroborating events. That's not an admission. And if you brought that in as an admission, you would get annihilated by any competent attorney. There's no way that's an admission of anything. That's just a generalized apology in an attempt to placate a mass of vicious pit vipers coming after you. And it's maybe ill-advised. If he were my client, I would have, of course, said never apologize to anybody. That's just a terrible plan. But you know, he's not my client. As I've said so many times, you got me. He's not my client.
Shame.
Okay, finally, that kind of pattern is not going to get you the verdict you think. I mean, oh, here we go. Any legit lawyer not running a con is all like, except that he has a much more experienced and prestigious law firm than just me, who seems to think there's something there.
There's literally like a senator on that working with that firm, right? Is that what it was? A senator?
Yeah, senator. There's a Texas state senater on the staff.
But according to Shannon, you know, none of those are legit lawyers, none of them. So
right, and none of them are litigators, according to Mars Girl. Final note on this little piece: as someone who's signed multiple contracts with Rooster Teeth, why would you say this stuff? Why would you bring your employer into it, you dummy? You dumb dummy. I mean, you just said, I've signed multiple contracts with Rooster Teeth. Okay, good. Now you were there? You were there and you've signed contracts with Rooster Teeth. Okay. Okay. Or you've no, wait, he was quoting Vic when he says I was there, but he's saying that homeboy corroborated huge chunks on the record. I take that as on the record, not on the Twitter. So I'm going to suggest that Shannon McCormick has inside information about this investigation, that he is a witness, that he should be subpoenaed, and that because, again, he is advertising his status as someone who contracts with Rooster Teeth, that this is someone that Rooster Teeth has a duty to supervise.
Yes, especially doesn't it also matter like when they're on, like if their Twitter account's public, which in this case it is, and for pretty much everyone that we've been talking about, and then also in their bio, if they literally put like X like so and so for X company, you know?
Yeah,
at that point they're like clearly representing that company on a public social media account, so they can't just say it's like my private account because it's not actually private. You do have the option of making a private account, but they haven't actually done that. These people I'm talking about right now.
Right. Now, here, and finally, Shannon says, it's not like being a Supreme Court justice, that's Kavanaugh, or the Pope or something, that's a Catholic sex offense joke. Although this guy is close. Wow. Oh, woo, Shannon. You better be able to back that up.
That sounds like he's had hate for Vic for a while to say stuff like that.
Yeah, it sure does. I want to see what is in his bio. I hope his pronouns are voice actor, RVB, Ruby, DCUO, B and Puppy Cat, Camp, Dr. Abrams and Day 5, lifelong fan of the Royals, Chris at convention set, see info for convention appearances. Oh, and he's got a Patreon.
That's surprising.
Yeah. This guy is, never mind. I'm not going to get into it. So here we go. So that's his thread about this thing. But I think he had another statement, didn't he? because he mentioned his statement from yesterday, his head slicer statement. Let's see.
Oh yeah, wait. This level of sure-handed investigative skill and clarity. No, not that one. Let's see.
Okay. No, dude, the man has gone Super Saiyan on everyone and lawyered up. The major players of this op will probably have to testify in court. I understand this is a talking point that the bitter enders have moved to. This, of course, was before the law firm was announced. But this is literally not happening. Oh, that's cute.
Literally not happening. It's like literally the opposite of not happening.
Yeah. Okay, so where do we go? Okay. So he retweets the IO9 article. That's another one. You know how in martial arts movies a dude gets his head sliced off with a sword, but he keeps moving around for a while before realizing he's dead? That's what the very even-keeled and subtle reporting this piece is doing.
Oh my god. I can't even, man. And they all retweet to that article, like they're all just stuck on it.
It's almost like they all are supporting a very specific narrative in what could be potentially considered civil conspiracy to ruin a man's reputation and interfere with his business prospects. It's almost like that's happening right in front of everybody. Oh man, out of liquor there. I've got more, just not in the cup.
Yeah. Okay. What's the other thing you got? Water or something?
Sweet tea. Is there any more? There's got to be more.
I mean, we can move on to the Jen Brown thing whenever you're ready. But let's see what else we got.
We'll do a round of super chats and then do the Jen Brown. I just wanted to see if there was anything more from this. I
mean, there probably is. It's just these people tweet so much sometimes. It's hard to like keep track of what they're saying.
It's crazy. Oh, this is an ironic tweet. Destroying your own business to own the libs. Well,
wow.
There you go. Okay, I'm not. Oh no, this is it. Really this is it. This is the thread I was thinking of. February 11th. February 11th. All right. Let's see. Let me read 10 super chats and then we'll do that. Okay, where are we? Here we go. Crocodactyl says, love the streams, buddy. Keep it up and maybe upload to a podcast a little bit more often because I really shouldn't be up this late. Well, I did. I uploaded 2 today and I'm going to upload more after the stream. Also, I just bought 1,000 points of Thousand Suns, so please pray for me. Good luck, buddy. I hope the rubric treats you well. Joey Jojo says, feels good to be winning the culture war. I'm tired of these ideologues trying to censor and control every media and hobby I enjoy. Opie for life. Beer and Pretzel says, what recourse could a shareholder have from this? It really depends on their shareholder agreements and if they're public or private companies. Fury God says, I'm betting Miles and Jen Brown are in definite trouble, especially Jen. She has been the most militant against him in Rooster Teeth. Oh, that'll be exciting. So that's what you're going to talk about, right? Is Jen?
Yeah.
Okay. The Mach 3 Razor donated, didn't say anything. Thank you. Earjuice says,
hey, Mach 3.
Andy didn't read 4 to 6 super chats directed at Ralph, who dismissed the fact that he is booting patrons from Discord and hasn't told them about doxing. Well, that's between Andy and Ralph, man. Siren Jag says, I had sent a super chat last night. I waited and then I woke up from being slumped over at the computer desk. The chat was replaying for some reason, and it was 7 a.m. Nick, I think you made me fall in some sort of wormhole with your zesty rant.
That sounds trippy. What the heck happened to you, man?
That's how it goes. Zamcast is Nick is Frasier to Dick's Cheers. Anonymous, that's Bagel Goose, says, show us your toes, Hero Hei. Do you want to show your toes on stream? Is that something you're into?
You can donate like 500 and we'll see for him and we'll see.
That's a challenge, Bagel Goose.
There you go.
Y says Hero Hei needs to slow down a little bit. Kind of hard to understand him when he's stumbling over his words a bit. I have the same problem. I haven't noticed it, but
especially after I've had a little bit of drink, it happens. Thank you for the heads up, though.
Plus, this stuff is exciting. This is exciting.
That's true.
Thomas Gabriel White says it's ironic that Crow turned his back on Ozpin, and now Shannon, Ozpin's voice actor, turned his back on Vic, Crow's voice actor. There you go. And finally,
yeah, some Ruby stuff. It is funny what he said. Yeah.
Finally, Derek Alexander. Derek Alexander says, would your support of Vic remain if I can provide evidence of him in blackface at a Halloween impersonating a colleague? No, I would disavow him immediately. Thank you, Derek, for that one. I appreciate it, buddy. Hopefully Dick will do another Road Rage Chicago and we can chat again. Okay, so back to these Shannon things, and then we'll do one more round of super chat, and then Jen. Me, stupid, inexperienced, naive, years of believable allegations of skeevy behavior. Oh, it's another one of those buzzwords. Skeevy behavior and worse, including from our own employees, is probably a good reason not to tarnish our brand any further. Wait a minute. Shannon, are you again implicating Rooster Teeth with your tweets? Why would you say that? You're not... Rooster Teeth desperately wants you to not be important to them. Like, at this point, they desperately want you to be just a voice actor contractor who has no say in anything. But we'll see. You, smart, professionally savvy, only criminal convictions are fireable offenses. I don't know who he's talking to here, because I don't think this is a reply to something. That's just a thing that he... Okay. So here's the victim. I have just experienced something deeply confusing and humiliating in a purposely secretive way. I'd like to come forward, but worry about if I will be taken seriously and believed. You, a stranger, I'm entitled to ogle the photographic and video evidence, liar. Well, that's weird. A thing that happens frequently. A person in a position of power and authority takes advantage of that position to abuse others. A virtually unheard of thing. A years-long fictional whispering campaign maintained uncoordinated by random people, including that person's peers. I mean, is that virtually unheard of? Is that actually virtually unheard of? Because I think we've seen that a couple times.
I lost track. This guy posted so much shit. We're still on February 11th, right?
Yeah, we're on February 11th. There's a thread that's just it's long.
Yeah, it started with the me, stupid, inexperienced, naive one, right? How many are you down from that?
From the experience one? Yeah, I'm down two from that.
Okay.
Things multi-million-dollar companies do: cut their losses when a privately maintained contractor relationship is no longer tenable because of bad behavior. Things multi-million-dollar companies don't do: sever relationships with otherwise bankable stars because of fee-fees. Oh, you would be very, very wrong there, idiot. You would be very, very wrong. Companies do stupid things based on the feelings or maybe lies of their employees all the time. All the time. This happens constantly. This thread brought to you by seeing the toxic portions of the fandom spaying its musk, so its musk is now no longer fertile, all over the place, especially at some of my fellow actors who are women.
Look at this guy white knighting in the next part. Oh,
Fedora tip. They still aren't going to bang you. That's some BS, so I'll volunteer to take some of the heat.
Look how brave you are, bro. Hell yeah, you're so brave, man. Posting some Twitter stuff. Real good job.
Stunning and brave. Also, I don't mention any names here because you know why? The rhetorical sophistry I see on display is a GD MS Office template that y'all will end up using again the next time this stuff comes up. One last one, a thing that might happen. People who work on a property together come forward. Oh my God. Oh, how have I not read this before? People who work on a property together come forward against one of their co-workers despite that show's success because it is right. Wow. Are you suggesting, Shannon, that there was a concerted effort between two or more people all in the same business to damage the business of one of their colleagues? Is that what you're saying might happen, with the obvious implication that this is real, and you follow it up like a thing that does not happen, false denunciations because a property was popular out of envy? Oh, yeah, Shannon, right. Shannon. You just made the case for civil conspiracy and said yourself you seem to have knowledge of it. Sorry.
But he's just a nobody that's not involved with any of this, right? I mean.
Yeah. One more. Notice there's several more that follow, but one more because I'm seriously the dumbest one and shows you have no idea of how the voice industry or even, human vocal cords work. Quote, that lady in the industry lied about that dude in the industry so she could take over his roles. Sure, Pumpkin. Cause I mean, in anime, females don't voice males ever. That doesn't happen. I mean, Goku's voiced by I'm talking about Japan Goku, but I'm also talking about US Goku. Goku's voiced by a woman. Another take, because people don't understand how things work in the entertainment industry. You understand that in almost every case, voice actors aren't employees, right? The entertainment companies are customers of our services. Sure.
Can we just stop for a second and appreciate how much shit he's posted? Like, he must have been sitting there just raging at his keyboard, right? Like, he must have been sitting there for a good minute, just being like, oh man, like, I gotta say something about all this, right? And then he just goes off on this huge tangent, just goes at it.
I'm gonna drop so many truth knowledge bombs about libel slander. These alphas won't even get it. These alphas won't even get it. I'm coming at you with the beta.
Oh god.
I need some whiskey for this guy.
Yeah, it's too much for the rum.
Here we go. This is by the way.
I'll cheers with that. What you got?
This is a Glenlivet Nadura. Let me I'll show this on stream real quick.
Yeah.
This is a Glenlivet Nadura. This is a 61.3% alcohol cask strength whiskey. It is very good.
Very nice.
Age 16 years. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Oh man. Okay. I'm glad I stopped that joke. The 16-year joke. That would have been bad.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. A little bit careful, at least.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know what Shane's target was 30 years ago or whatever. I'm just saying.
I mean, I know what his target is now.
What's his target now?
Well, I'm surprised. Can't tell you.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a one-off, but now I want to know what his target is now. Okay. Here we go. These companies go to the voice stores we run and they buy a voice. Yeah, but you're out there representing yourself as affiliated with them and you being their employee, silly. Are you saying if you went to a restaurant a few times, then found out from people there that the kitchen was unsanitary, that because you had once eaten there, you were obligated to keep eating there forever? That doesn't even make sense.
You know what's funny? This is the second time I've seen someone make a ridiculously bad restaurant reference.
Really?
I forget what the first one was about. I'm trying to remember, but it was like, what were they talking about that? Something about complaining about the service and not, like, it was just some horrible reference to a restaurant. And he's doing like a similar shit right here. It's funny. I don't know what it is about that.
Yeah, it gets worse. Where are the lab results proving I will get food poisoning? Huh? Nom nom nom. Hey Shannon. Do you know that when a case of E. coli is reported because someone gets E. coli and they go to a doctor, okay? You don't know this. I know you don't know this, but when you go to a doctor because you have a stomach virus or whatever, because you're just blasting your insides out into every toilet bowl you can find, and they test you and you have E. coli, you know what that doctor is required by law to do? They're required to report it to the CDC. And then the CDC calls the person who has the E. coli and goes on a very, very extensive interview about where they ate, what foods they bought, what produce they had, where the sources of it were, what restaurants they ate at, where are the lab results. The CDC has them. It's a law. You idiot. You've made the worst analogy by your own ignorance, you stupid pile of something. It's just, this is embarrassing for these people, yet cucked by his own inadequacy. Nah, dude, that place is sketch. I'm gonna go hit up the other place. Actually, don't you want to know? Don't you want to know if the restaurant that you're eating at was the source of the food poisoning outbreak, and it is verifiable by evidence? Because they'll have 3 or 4 people that ate at the same Chipotle or ate from the same vendor of romaine lettuce or spinach. I mean, maybe they're just picking them at random and the CDC has no idea what's causing an outbreak of foodborne illness. Oh my God, think for 2 seconds. 2 seconds. And you would have realized how stupid this analogy is. People will be less inclined to believe the original allegations because people are busy yelling at the industry insiders who also came forward, because people were initially yelling at the people with the original allegations is a galaxy brain take. No, actually, it's not. It's not a galaxy brain take to think that you're diluting with so many allegations that people are less inclined to believe them, because it doesn't seem possible that someone serially molested people for a decade and none of you said anything until the Broly movie came out. It doesn't seem plausible. And suddenly there's how many? I mean, you guys make it seem like there's 300, but do we have any count? Do we have any count, Hero, of how many allegations there are? Like, I think a generous amount is like 30, right?
I think it's very generous. Yeah, I think that's very generous. I can think of like a vocal 10 to 15. Maybe there's some more that I'm not really accounting for.
I count it as what, like 4 that have any teeth to them because the person can be identified.
Right.
Like that's sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say 30.
Yeah, I don't think so. But they're making it out like it's 1,000.
Yeah.
Shannon McCormick says, although in this case, pointing up above, I think this poster is not being argumentative, but describing an online dynamic of focusing on the famous people, not everyday victims. Since this meta thread keeps growing.
Because you keep posting like more and more stuff.
Yeah, you're growing that one, buddy. Here's the thing I've learned. I didn't know the online colloquial usage of NPC is a put down.
That shit is gross, man.
That is gross, man. Calling another 3-dimensional human a non-player character erases their agency. What?
Dude, what the hell? I don't even understand.
The point just went straight through this guy's rectum. Yeah, that's the point. They don't have agency. They're operating on a scripted algorithm. That's why NPC is so effective. And the best part is, every time it's used, your guys' programming breaks because you didn't know how to handle it and you don't know what to do. You're acting exactly like the meme. It paves the way to dehumanization. Oh, but calling someone a serial molester and rapist and calling people gross and all that stuff doesn't. Yeah. Stop it. Another fun skill I'm learning: when to mute and when to block. It's a fine line, but I think I'm getting it.
I can't believe he hasn't blocked me yet, honestly. That's surprising.
Oh my goodness.
Which is really sad because I don't know if I was streaming with you when I explained this, but he voices a character on Ruby named Ozpin.
Yeah.
About that? Yeah.
Someone mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's messed up because I defended Ozpin, and a lot of people didn't like Ozpin for a long time, and I was always there defending him. And now it's like, this guy's Ozpin, but it is what it is.
Let's see. Here, the rubric that works for me: your mileage may vary. If you're an argumentative dick who is really just desperate for attention, says the guy with like the 15 tweets who says, because this meta thread is growing, read, because I'm gaining attention from my autism. You're not looking desperate for attention there, Shannon. Mute. Conspiracy theory peddlers, active liars, etc. Block. And if we did that, Shannon, no one would listen to you.
He wants a little echo chamber.
A thing I keep thinking about: centering being a consumer at the heart of your identity is pretty toxic. You literally just... And consumption as politics is bad politics. Thinking of harassment investigations as an element of customer service will lead you to break your own brain. Oh my. Oh my. Oh wow. Okay, that's enough. That's enough, Shannon. You say you've got some Gen to talk about. Let's hit.
Oh yeah.
let's hit a couple more. Wait, hold on. Let me do like 10 more chats.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the restroom again. I've been drinking. Just a disclaim, chat. I also have been drinking like a ton of water this whole time.
Good. You never want that hangover. That's why I drink the tea.
Yeah. Screw the hangover.
Yeah, and Streamy, I'll get your chats pulled up as well. I just have to get them pulled up. 1 second. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this is from Streamy Lodian. It says the voice actor crew had lies whispered to them by Moloch, so you can't be too hard on them. Just throw them in the ovens too. Well, that's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. All right, so next is Joey Jojo. I will never forgive Funimation for turning Lukoa, the best girl of Dragon Maid, into a feminist. They also attacked Gamergate in the prison school dub. Keck7Go says, this is a while back, 200 subs till 40K, 40K Warhammer stream. Will you cosplay as Lorgar? I would never. Kids with permanent marker can help you out. I won't cosplay as Lorgar. He got pimp slapped by the hoe hand of Robute. Automata says, query, if hugs/touching have been an issue for a decade, then how is it still that not every con has a clear and defined physical contact policy? Because it's not an issue. Hugging has never been an issue and never should be. It's a common display of platonic affection towards someone. Thank you. It's a thank you. You're here in my presence and I appreciate it. Here's a hug. It doesn't mean I want to rape you. A hug literally means I wouldn't even rape you. SeedFan85 says, what would be the charges in ruling against Arya Stark after she returned and dealt with the fray? I think Arya Stark did just fine. She did nothing wrong. No charges. Would you charge Arya Stark? I mean, that's a dangerous game. Andrew Schaefer says, Nick, completely off topic. What are your thoughts on the high school kids in Minnesota that might be looking at charges for passing around N-word cards? Oh, that'll be an interesting case. That'll be a very interesting case. Good luck charging them for speech. Wheatfields, Ralph is threatening to seize the satirical domain ethanralph.com from the owner. The legal codes I've found for this are 15 USC 1125D, 15 USC 8131, and ICANN UDRP policy. Please investigate. I can investigate it, but I can't comment on it tonight. I am not an expert in domain law at all. Mr. DJ Fly High says, I made a super chat before the live stream. Okay, I will find that. I guess there could have been more. Let me find that as well. I'll get to it in just a little bit. Caleb Rosser says, even if Vic is guilty, Sean and Samantha faked a swatting incident, and Pensacon supposedly received a bomb threat that never reached the FBI. You know, even if Vic is guilty is a really interesting question. How you gonna prove it? Okay, of course my super chat thing is not bringing up the pre-show chat, so give me a second. I will still get to it. It's just going to be a little bit convoluted in the background. Next. How do you prove these things? And that really bothers some people. But again, how do you prove it? If you can't prove it, you can't ruin someone's life. You just can't. Caleb Rosser. Oh wait, no. Jarbo Binks says Ralph is a big vag, and I'm Matt. Okay. Eyes of the Wolf 101 says, let Rooster Teeth burn, said Primark Nick. There you go. Dex Luther says, I have to say the left is pretty funny, just not on purpose. Yes, they're funny to laugh at, but they are not good at getting you to laugh with. Ice Guy 93 says, Nick, I think you would be an excellent member of the Ordo Hereticus. The Emperor protects both you and Hei. Keep up the good fight. Best lawyer ever.
Some Warhammer shit right there?
Yeah, the Ordo Hereticus is the Inquisition is the theocratic militant arm of the Emperor or of the Imperium of Mankind. They enforce the Imperial Creed and adherence to the Emperor as the god of humanity. And so
yeah, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, the Ordo Hereticus's task is to track down the heretic and the witch and to put them to flame.
So are they space? They're a subset of Space Marines or a whole?
No, they're humans. The Ordo Hereticus. Inquisitors are humans. Many of them are augmented with various, machine parts that make them better. And then, other than that, lots of them have psychic ability, and they have access to infinite resources. They're pretty fun though. The Ordo Hereticus is cool. Manuel Montalvo says, I boycotted Rooster Teeth after the controversy with Mani Kathleen Zulch. They aren't your lovable indie company they make themselves out to be. They never are, because they're a business. Crocodactyl says, straight silver. JP Gotroctis. Gotrokits. Nick, would you shave your face to cosplay as Gaunt? Maybe, if I had court coming up. 93 TJ says, another Kurt Cobain reference made tonight. Press F and take a shot. No, that's what Kurt did. Hey, I got a good subscription there from a good friend. Buddy, I'll email you later and thank you personally. That's a fun one to see. Tits McGee says, the problem with the modern progressive left is that they seem to believe that if you hate someone more than they hate you, that makes you a more moral person. It doesn't. It just rots the soul and withers the joy in life. Absolutely. MP Thos guy. Okay. Dang, guys, I can't drink because I'm listening at work. Oh, rip, buddy.
Hey, well, thanks for tuning in at work, though.
Yeah. Okay. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left, and then we'll move on. Trivia aficionado. You have a knack for explaining things without sounding condescending. As a teacher, I know that's not always easy. Lol. So glad to learn from you. That's because there's no reason to be condescending to anyone as a lawyer unless that person is trying to tell you that you're wrong and they don't have any idea about it. But if you're just like, none of you lawyers I've met seem to think that they're smart. It's not that they're smart. It's just that they've studied. And studying doesn't make you somewhat better at anything. It just means that you have a different area of expertise than someone else. Most of the dumb people I know are PhDs and JDs. So
yeah, I mean, it depends how they handle it too. I mean, if they just cite their authority for the argument, it'll weaken their merit. So right.
Okay, subbed back when you did Defense Distributed. Any news on it? There's a lot, but it's really, really complicated. I really want to get. I'm gonna see if I can get. What's his face is. I can't think of his name right now. Cody Wilson's documents for his criminal case. We'll see what we can do about that. RDX99 says, saw on Twitter, Jamie donated to her own GoFundMe, big Fs. People are making a big deal out of that. Since she's an organizer of that campaign, I don't know if that violates in particular their rules of terms of use.
I have a video coming out in 5 minutes about that. And actually, I was not able to find anything saying it was explicitly against the TOS or anything.
It's not explicitly against it. However, what I will say is in the Diversity in Comics GoFundMe, they used anonymous donations of very large amounts and suggested that they were self-donations to the campaign. And they were basically saying they were seeding the campaign to drive traffic to it. If anyone wants to know why I will not donate to the GoFundMe, it's because it's not explicitly against the terms of service. However, if they believe that you are suspiciously donating to drive traffic or to seed money into it, they will shut it down.
I think that's fair. Yeah. As far as I saw with Jamie, though, it was only a $350 donation. So
yeah, I
not really the same.
And again, I would encourage people out there to just ignore that GoFundMe. Like, I know a lot of people have reported it. Okay, now you know it's been reported. Just ignore it. If it gets taken down, they will get infinitely more attention. Just think how embarrassing it is that they can't even raise $5,000 for women victims of sexual assault. Like, that's how low their clout is. They can get 12,000 retweets or 12,000 likes or whatever for their victim story. They can't get people to raise $5,000. They can't get, for Jessie Pridemore, for example, they can't get her to raise $5,000 to lawyer up. We've raised in 8 days over close to $85,000 for Vic Mignogna. And they can't get, with all of their social justice clout, can't get $5,000. How embarrassing is this? But just, oh gosh. Okay, last one for now. Invicts says Miles Luna is a director for previous and current seasons of RWBY and may have access to firing decisions. Would that be enough to pull in Rooster Teeth? Ooh, that's vice principal agency in Texas. If he has hiring and firing authority, yeah, that alone might be enough to pull them in. Shouldn't have said anything, Miles. And I bet your corporate counsel's pissed. I bet
that's pretty funny, actually. Like I said earlier in the stream, they even put that clause in their like fan project guidelines saying like, don't make our lawyers have work. They're very busy as it is. But like their social media people are just like making their lawyer's case so much harder.
I bet. I bet her job is very hard right now. Yeah. Let's see. Please read this. Yeah, I know, Galen. I know that I mentioned he's only been to the Rooster Teeth studio like once in 15 years, something like that. So no, I gotcha. All right. Let's get back into this. You're gonna tell me about Jen Brown.
Yeah, let's go look at that. So
okay, do you have a link I can put up on screen, or do you want to screen share it?
Yeah,
or what do you got?
Here's the link. I can read it, or you can read it. There's the link.
Here, let me. Oh my gosh. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Everything. Let me pull it up here, and then I'll let you read it. It's up on screen for everybody.
Okay, is there right now?
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. So yeah, Jen Brown says, I fully support RT and others in the decision to kick Vic. As a relative newcomer with no real power in the convention world, I had heard the stories recently, but was not in a place to say anything. It made me sick to my stomach, and I'm glad to see that action is being taken.
Oh, so
that's kind of what do you think about that?
So this is a Rooster Teeth employee, or
yeah, she's a Rooster Teeth employee, yeah.
Or we should say a contractor, an independent contractor working with Rooster Teeth.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I fully support Rooster Teeth and others in their decision to hashtag kick Vic. Does Rooster Teeth endorse the hashtag kick Vic? I mean, it kind of looks like they do, right? So they're acting on that hashtag?
It does seem like they do. I mean, when you have her and then Miles, well, I love Miles didn't include that in his response, I don't think.
No, he didn't. But man, it sure would be interesting if there was some sort of communication between these voice actors and the corporate actors at Rooster Teeth that had a hashtag kick Vic in it, or that had any sort of references to this stuff.
The problem I really have with this, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so my opinion is a little bit different, but it just comes off so immoral to me because this was already after he had been fired, right? They already terminated him, so why even like when it's already done? So why even come out and say something like this as an independent contractor of Rooster Teeth? It just seems like very unnecessary and very unprofessional.
Oh, it is absolutely unprofessional. Does she have any other tweets about this?
There is one more tweet I want to show you as well, and it's
is it just
more
scrolling?
recent? No, it's from February 19th. I'll link it right now. It's her retweeting the lovely IO9 article.
Oh, good.
And she said, "Please read. I had stopped posting about this directly because of all the trolls, but it's so very important."
Yeah, very important. Very important. Yeah. So she said she stopped posting about it because, oh my God. Sorry, that's a really hideous picture. Was she, how much would, these people, all they do is tweet. It's, oh God.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Okay, so that was on the 19th she posted that?
Yeah, the new one.
I won't block you, but please read the whole article. I'm telling you, he is guilty of what he is being accused of.
Whoa,
that's right. If that's on February 19th as well, it's right. If you go into her tweets and replies, it's right above the IO9 one. So it's easy to find. If you don't want to believe it, that's your right, but try to consider the victims. He's guilty. Oh my gosh, these people.
That's pretty bad to say, isn't it? Like,
yes.
She has no evidence that actually, like, she doesn't have any evidence that proves that he's guilty, so she cannot just be saying that, right?
I mean,
as far as I understand.
Again. So we'll wrap up this section on her, and then we'll get back into what we found at a high level and talk about how what happens to Rooster Teeth at this point, okay?
Mm-hmm,
and how you go after it, because it's still high. I mean, these are independent contractors. Here we go. Let's I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. February 11th. I want to find. She's not really saying much about it here. I can't even find where she's. I had stopped posting about this. She didn't seem to post about it a lot, or did she post about it beforehand?
No, I think there was just really that one thing I linked you. I don't think there was too much more than that. The original one from like the 4th, I think it was.
Yeah, February 4th. Wait, when was Rooster Teeth?
So it must have been then. Maybe it was a day off. Maybe it was.
They posted this. What? It just says 3 weeks ago.
Let's see. The article. I mean, the Polygon article came out on the 5th about Rooster Teeth cutting Vic. So I assumed it was the 4th.
Yeah, it must have been. Must have been. I just was wondering if she had disclosed it prior to them disclosing it. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would.
I wonder if she had any other tweets prior to that. We can. Yeah, we'll just. I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, I mean that's all there. That's already pretty good. Someone says go to January 17th.
January 17th. Okay.
That's what someone in chat said. I didn't catch the name. I just saw it in the corner of my eye.
Yeah, I'm almost there. 17th. I see some Trump stuff.
Yeah.
Or is it supposed to be this revenge thing? No. I'm not seeing anything there. Let's put that away. To get me this VA. And that's how they all get the VA. No, that's a joke. Goodness gracious. If they say I need you to get me this VA for this role, I just have to have them, and they have then they have hiring and firing authority to some extent. At least you can make the argument that they have it. And in that case, then they have some agency authority that or agency liability under the vice principal rule in Texas. The vice principal rule, if you miss that stream, says that anyone who has basically any power that is delegated to them that would only be reserved to the corporate entity is a vice principal. In Texas, literal secretaries become vice principals of corporations because they have authority to maybe issue checks. For example, like if a secretary has signing authority on financial instruments, then they can become a vice principal. That's a crazy thing, and it's not true for every state, but God bless Texas that's where they are. How unfortunate for all of them.
Yeah, that's pretty funny how that worked out.
So if he has hiring and firing authority, his statements become, at least arguably, and this is the important part, it's not always about if you can win when you file suit. It's about what can you get from filing suit. So here's a hypothetical for you. Let's say Beard, Harris, Bullock, and Hughes call up Funimation, call up Rooster Teeth, and they say, look, your corporate entities, you've made an at-will termination in Texas. We recognize that. Should I do it in a Texan accent? We recognize that. That's all right. We can't sue you for wrongful termination, but here's the thing. We aren't going to sue you for wrongful termination. We don't need to. We got tortious interference. We got defamation. We got business defamation. We can come at you that way. And listen, all we got to do is get to discovery. We get to discovery, and all your corporate communications, because we're going to get all of them. And trust me, we will get all of them. All of those become public. All of that. And I think maybe if we're able to look into it, we'll get a hand on those internal investigations as well. And we're going to go ahead and test the veracity of some of them statements that were made by some of your employees. And maybe some of those employees have come out and made pretty strong statements on Twitter. Maybe some of them have faked a swatting event, something like that. Tell you what, we're going to find all that when we go through your communications. Or you got an easy answer. Here's what my client wants. My client wants to get away from this. Never wanted to sue a single person. Never, ever wanted to do this. My client was backstabbed by his friends and his employers. All my client wants to do is work and connect with his fans. And you know the way that happens is you hire him back. You don't have to make a big statement. You don't have to make a big fuss. You don't even have to retract anything, Rooster Teeth, because you know you didn't make bad statements from the get-go, and I commend you for that. You didn't do that. But you got to disavow some of these voice actors. You got to get them to stop the nonsense, because this man's reputation is in the gutter, and we need to pull it out.
So what would disavow mean? What would disavow mean in that context? You don't mean you don't mean sever their contract. You mean
no. All they have to do is just acknowledge these are independent contractors with their own opinions. We do not condone this type of discussion amongst other contractors. Like the very idea. Let's take this out of voice actor community. Let's take this out of the voice actor community and put it in like a financial institution. Let's say a Merrill Lynch rep, for example, comes out and starts just blasting another Merrill Lynch representative, like maybe the next town over, and starts calling them a rapist or something. Let's say that it's not just let's say that it's two men. Let's say it's Miles Luna and Vic Mignogna, but in Merrill Lynch financial representatives, because Miles or Shannon or whatever is like the women's taking their voice acting roles, ignoring the very real possibility that he or Miles Luna do get those voice acting roles, and their support is compromising. Whether or not they made the initial accusation, they have a conflict of interest, because Vic's roles have to be filled according to their sexist, disgusting, patriarchal takes. His roles have to be filled by a man, and women aren't good enough, according to Shannon. Women aren't good enough to do the voices of men. So that's his opinion. I am not of that opinion. But either way,
I want to get this down because I don't know if you'll get to it by the time, if I'm still here because it's late. Galarudo says, have you, to me, about the Shane's letter thing? It's been a while since I read it, and I have new opinions, and I'll have to read it again to answer your dinner.
Okay, sounds good. Here's the thing. These guys have ulterior motive, but either way, all they have to do is say these guys are independent, and we condemn, or we don't condone, our voice actors, people we make casting decisions with, disparaging our other voice actors. I mean, this is simple, and they may even have contract clauses in there, and if they don't, corporate lawyers, put those in their contracts that they can't disparage their coworkers. This is costing you money. If nothing else, your coworkers or your contractors have cost you money because you failed to put provisions in their contract for them to keep their stupid mouths shut about their co-stars. Like, what are you thinking? Broly had $30 million and this all breaks? Maybe it could have had 40. Maybe it could have had 50. You are allergic to success because you are like this, and it's stupid to be like this. But let's just let's suggest that because of these statements, Rooster Teeth can roll that back and tell them to knock it off and be fine. And whether or not they listen to Rooster Teeth is up to them. But Rooster Teeth can make things right just by hiring Vic and saying, you know what? We got an internal investigation. The results weren't conclusive, but we had pressure from all sorts of areas, and we found out that maybe we made the wrong decision. And you hire him back. They may not even need to make that statement. They may just say, we do have plans to work with Vic Mignogna in the future, and we retract any statement that said otherwise. That's all it takes.
I do agree with what you said earlier. I do think Vic does want to just reconnect with his fans, and it would definitely be a bit awkward, I guess, working for some of those people. But it's not like he's going into a job every day and seeing them like every day. It's not like that kind of situation. So
never day, as far as I can tell. If especially Rooster Teeth, from what I understand, almost all the recording is done in people's homes, and they submit it, and then Rooster Teeth mixes it later. So, like, what are we worried about here? They don't have to interact. They could even adopt new corporate rules. Like, they could put a contract where Vic doesn't actually have interaction with them at a corporate level. We don't know any of that. That's all under NDA, and that's fine. But
what about a monetary incentive? Like, what if they offer him more money than he had previously?
I don't know why they would right now. Rooster Teeth does hold a lot of cards. Like, I have to be fair to them. They don't have a facially incriminating statement. So, so here's where I was going with this. You don't necessarily sue Rooster Teeth right now. But what you've got is you've definitely got Rooster Teeth voice actors admitting there was an investigation. That investigation involves overlap. We can infer and make a very strong case that investigation involves overlap of employees from both companies. And we can suggest that that information contained in Rooster Teeth's investigation, especially if it's bogus, and you know it, Rooster Teeth, especially if it's bogus, that the information contained in that would be probative in a case against Funimation or one of the voice actors, or would be evidence of a conspiracy if you bring a conspiracy sort of situation. Rooster Teeth is open to discovery, if nothing else. They're open to discovery as an interested party, not as a party to the suit yet. But they've got to be terrified, especially if their lawyer, for example. Like, let's say Rooster Teeth's lawyer looked at that investigation report and they had some decision-making authority in the termination. Or let's say Rooster Teeth's lawyer could be named as part of the conspiracy because Rooster Teeth's lawyer might have had something to do, might have a relationship with these VAs, like a friendly one. I'm not talking anything weird. Like a friendly relationship with some of these VAs, and they might decide that they believe the story, or that they're more willing to put weight in the investigation. They know it's in the investigation. They're now a witness. If that corporate counsel gets named as a witness, then that corporate counsel may not be defending Rooster Teeth, and Rooster Teeth may have to spend even more money to hire outside counsel. That would be a shame. That would be an expensive shame for Rooster Teeth if that were to happen. I don't know if that's the case, but Rooster Teeth seems to have done everything on advice of counsel, whereas Funimation seems to have done everything without the advice of counsel. So it's highly possible that Rooster Teeth's attorney participated in the firing decision of Vic Mignogna. And if that's the case, could be named as a co-conspirator to the voice actors who have basically, as we've just shown, laid out the fact that there was a concerted effort amongst the voice actors. Thank you, Shannon McCormick, for doing that. That was so lovely and nice of you to suggest what might have happened is that a bunch of VAs got together. And thank you for corroborating the inside information that I have from someone who said that that definitely happened. Thank you for doing that. It was very helpful. And I'm sure Vic's lawyers will be very pleased.
They do seem to like helping us. I mean, they just continue to do it every day. Keep waiting for them to stop, but they just keep on coming with it. So.
Now, here's the great part. Whether it's just discovery, corporate discovery, is still absurd. It's expensive. It's probably going to cost more than Vic's salary from Rooster Teeth, if we're being honest. Because, again, from what I gather and what I know about this industry, from what I've been learning very quickly, is that they don't make a ton of money on most of these projects. They're not the original creative content on any dub. They're just a dub, right? And lots of these dubs are serialized. They go on for long periods of time, and they're short projects that aren't like the Broly movie's different because it was a big project that was expected and engineered with advertising and everything to make a lot of money. But they still operate on a pretty high margin, I would guess, with the voice actors anyway, as in what they're paying.
Well, you said Rooster Teeth?
Either Rooster Teeth or Funimation, but I'm guessing that. Yeah, go
here's
ahead.
Interesting about Rooster Teeth. So Ruby used to be on YouTube. They used to put it on YouTube. But this last season, they don't have it on YouTube anymore. They only put it on their roosterteeth.com. So you have to go there to watch it. So they said they weren't making enough to keep it on YouTube.
They weren't making it enough to keep it on YouTube?
So they had to take it off YouTube so they could try to get more people to sign up for their premium service on their site.
Oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. So they can't be like, what are they paying Vic? Like 10 grand a year?
I don't know, man. It's weird. But then you have Genlock, which is the show that just came out with, and they have some very, very huge VAs on that. Literally blanking on the name right now because it's late.
What's a Rooster Teeth? What's their subscription service cost?
$5 a month, I believe. There might be another tier that's higher than that.
Oh my God. I hope people aren't unsubscribing from Rooster Teeth over this, because I bet if they're having to... No, I mean, if Rooster Teeth had to pull a show from YouTube to force people behind the paywall of $5 a month, and they're running on that thin a margin, I bet every one of those $5 subscriptions is devastating to them.
Bro, here's how it is. Okay, so every time RWBY would be out, right? They would always get a lot of first memberships. They get spikes, even when it was on YouTube, because if you have first membership, you would get the episode a week early. So if you didn't have it, you'd have to wait for it to go on YouTube for free, but you have to wait a week, right? So they would always get an influx of first memberships when RWBY was out, because people don't want to wait the week if they can help it. And then whenever RWBY would be done, which is about a 3-month period, they would always lose a lot of first memberships because most people want to stay for RWBY. So they've been trying to make other shows and stuff to, to keep people around, to keep people subscribed to first. And at this point, they had to take it even the next step, which is what I just told you. They had to take it off YouTube entirely and only put that on first. But I'm sorry, on their website. But that said, you can watch RWBY for free on their website. You just have to be on their website. But you still have the waiting period like they had on YouTube. It's just they shifted that all to their site.
Wow. I'm seeing in the chat, someone says Rooster Teeth was losing 500 subs a day.
I don't know where they got that number. I mean, I'd love to see, but I don't think that's public information, so I really don't know. But they definitely do lose subs after the season's done.
I have no idea. I have no idea. All I know is that we're not talking, like, from what you're telling me, if RWBY is a show that you get for $5 a month, I mean, the amount of money you have to make just to recoup. How many voice actors are on RWBY?
I mean, shit, bro. There's probably over 20.
Let's just say they play 20 voice actors.
That's not necessarily like all main characters, though, But there's at least like 10 main characters, at least off the top of my head. So easily 20, I'd say.
Let's say the average voice actor on RWBY is paid $5,000. Like, let's say that's the mean. I'm pulling this out of nowhere. Let's say that's the mean income from the voice actor. That's $100,000 a year in voice acting costs. Divide that by 5. That's 20,000 subscribers to Rooster Teeth. Just for the voice acting. That's not for any marketing. That's not for any production. That's not for directing. That's not for script writing. That's not for artwork. That's not for anything. That's just the voice acting alone. We'll say it costs $100,000. Mm-hmm. And I bet it costs more. I bet it costs more than that. I mean, they've got to be devastated by this. And it doesn't make sense. I mean, I would be, if Rooster Teeth could get here's why I brought that up. Let's say it's $100,000 in voice acting costs. So let's say, yeah, the average is $5,000, just again for sake of argument. Let's say that means that the big names are 10, right? $10,000 for their voice acting role. So you got Vic is a $10,000 employee of Rooster Teeth for RWBY. Litigation, even discovery, is going to cost corporate discovery of this case as a non-party is probably going to cost them $40,000. Like, because they're gonna have to go through, they're gonna have to assign someone to go through all of their corporate communications. They're gonna have to try and redact anything that is business privileged. They're gonna have to redact anything that was done in contemplation of litigation. They'll have to make arguments over it. Their corporate counsel is going to have to go through that and participate in those decisions. Then, if they want to contest the motion, like let's say they don't want to comply with the subpoena that's put on them, then they have to fight it, which means that they're going to have to pay a lawyer to draft a motion in opposition or a memorandum in opposition to the motion. They're going to have to maybe argue it in oral argument. It's going to take time and money. There's no way this makes any financial sense to do anything other than hire Vic back. Because if they hire Vic back, they're going to get subs back. Like, people are going to immediately, I would think, people would immediately resubscribe to Rooster Teeth and vote.
I didn't even, that's right. You reminded me, I wasn't even getting started on white people on sub too. There's a whole other thing I could be telling you too.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so a lot of people have been unhappy with RWBY for a while, like for a good 2 or 3 years now. And so they have been they've been losing viewers for a while for RWBY, because they damaged the reputation of the fan base somewhat, and that's only been getting worse. Like, specifically right now we're up to volume 6. It just ended. During volume 5, people were already getting pissed off, and they didn't like how volume 5 was going. Some people didn't like volume 4, but really volume 5 was like the one where a lot of people started dropping it. Then volume 6 rolled around. It started pretty good, but it fell off like near the second half, and a lot of people were starting to drop it again. And that was before this whole Vic thing came out. So volume 6 and volume 5, they were already losing viewers in comparison. And yeah, then this Vic thing happened. So I would say it's not a good situation.
Yeah, I don't know. So someone says YouTube metrics show Rooster Teeth is only down 3,500 subs in the last month out of 9.6 million subs.
But that's a whole other thing we're talking about, though.
Right, that's vastly
their premium
different.
Service on their website, yeah, it's way different.
Right, and by the way, if you're losing if you've got 9 million subs on YouTube, and you can't make money off of that, I don't know what to tell you. You give me 9 million subs on YouTube, and I will retire. And I'll just live stream everything in my. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But no, I mean that's just embarrassing. The idea that I think these companies are hurting. I really do think Funimation is hurting. I think their unsubscribe button getting deactivated was, whether or not they fixed it. I don't think that was. I mean, if it's a glitch, man, the timing of that glitch was really interesting.
Yeah, right. They haven't had a problem with it, like, and then all of a sudden they do. Now it's weird, man.
Yeah. Also, let's hold on. I'm going to social blade Rooster Teeth because subs are not the metric, right? Of
revenue.
Of anything on YouTube. Subs are the old metric on YouTube. Now you've got guys like Mundane Matt with well over 100,000 subs getting 3,000 views a video.
Yeah,
which is just not great. Here's the thing. Rooster Teeth's YouTube channel, video views for their daily average is 692,000, but their monthly views have been just plummeting. Their monthly views in, let's see, December of 2018, 22.53 million. January, 23.17 million. February, 20 million. So they lost 3 million views. Now, what's important to note is where the views are coming from, and it's not on Social Blade. But if your views are coming from old content like Red versus Blue, which is still a popular thing and still is going to pull in residual views like crazy. Videos that have 1 million plus views will continue to get views for the next 6 years, you know?
To an extent, yeah. They'll spikes on and off.
Yeah, so it's I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I wouldn't want to be in that situation at all. I think they're probably hurting, and I think if they had to pull it off of YouTube to make more money from the premium service, then they're definitely in real trouble.
Yeah.
So, well, I gotta read a whole bunch of chats. I don't know. Was there anything else to go into here? I mean, as a summary,
probably something, but I think we did pretty good.
As a summary, the tweets of Shannon McCormick, Miles Luna, and Jen Brown, not to mention Monica Rial. Is Jamie Markey a Rooster Teeth VA?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is Jamie Markey a Rooster Teeth VA?
I don't believe so. I'll fact check it real quick.
Okay, thank you. Or Chris Sabat or what's his face, Sean Schemmel, or either of those.
The only reason why I'm a little unsure is because the whole Genlock thing I haven't been following. I know they brought on some new people. Like I was wrong about Monica Rial. So yeah, let me just see. IMDb's loading slow.
It always does when you need it. It always does. Someone is saying no, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, it's hard to see. I don't see anything on IMDb.
She only works for Funimation, according to So Cool, bruh. Here's the other thing. This is a side note that I think is funny. Ron Soye is he's a mortgage guy or whatever, right? Like that's what he's listed as his employment, is some sort of mortgage guy. Fine, not a big deal. Ron Soye is one of the guys who's out there saying that Funimation will cover Monica's, their corporate lawyers will protect them, right?
Sabat is in Ruby. I forgot he plays Watts. That's funny. He's one of the villain characters. He's one of the villains.
Wait, Chris Sabat?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be unfortunate if Chris Sabat or whatever, if maybe he were part of the movement to kick Vic. And I mean, maybe he's been quiet on social media, but maybe behind the scenes, maybe prior to Vic getting fired, Chris Sabat was Maybe he was part of that group of people that came together and said, we don't want him. I mean, maybe that would be really unfortunate if there was that tie as well. But I don't know. I don't know. Here's the deal with Ron Toye, which I find funny. He's been saying that, one, the lawsuit's imaginary, and two, that even if there is, like Rooster or the corporate entities are going to cover their costs. Ron works in mortgage. And in mortgage, when you have an employee who's an agent because they're writing mortgage business for you, you do tend to cover their costs, right? Like you cover their attorney representation because, one, it's pretty easy to say that someone who has the authority to loan out like $1 million to someone has some agency in the corporation, and an enterprising lawyer can certainly make enough of a case to at least drag the company into something they don't want to do. Next, those sorts of professionals have E&O insurance, so when they screw up, their E&O insurance covers their lawyer. So Ron Toye probably is telling Monica, like, no, baby, it'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. Don't worry, these other people are going to come take over your legal fees. I got news. That's not how it works with independent contractors in the voice acting community.
That's some pretty bad advice.
Yeah, I hope you have your own private insurance to pay for a private attorney, because the corporation is going to protect themselves, not you. Not you. But here's the brief summary in all this is, I think that there's plenty in those statements that are out there right now that have been archived as well, that you can make a case that Rooster Teeth has crucial information involving people from both Funimation and Rooster Teeth. You've got, at the very least, you've got Sabat and Rial. Plus, you've got public statements made by Miles Luna and Shannon McCormick and Jen Brown that further bring Rooster Teeth and indicate that maybe there's some other sort of things going on. Plus a retweeting of the IO9 article. Again, I know to the dummies out there, this sounds like conspiracy theory. No, it's a theory about a legal conspiracy that all of these people who have admitted to having connections to each other and having friends in these different publications and in these different employment agencies, they've admitted to that publicly, and them all then sharing this stuff in a circle jerk kind of looks like they made a concerted, organized effort. And pleading that out is difficult, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible, and certainly not when it's connected to any other cause of action. The question will be, will a law firm who is competent file recklessly, or will they go ahead and chart up a cause of action that is designed to survive summary judgment and an anti-slap motion? You've got a pretty experienced team of non-litigators. They're just business attorneys, right? They're just business attorneys. I mean, I don't know why a business attorney would be interested in doing business defamation. You guys think that she wants, or you guys think that Vic wants a defamation attorney, which would just be a personal injury attorney. Here's the thing. Personal injury attorneys have people with lost limbs and dead children to bring in front of a jury to go ahead and show why they need a giant verdict. Business defamation attorneys are dealing with the facts of interfering with a competitor's business. You don't have a dead kid. It's a different type of defamation litigation, you idiots. Hey, Shane, talking to you too. It's a different type of defamation, and you probably don't want a personal injury attorney to deal with corporate entities in a business setting. You probably want a business litigator. It's almost like there's a reason he would hire a firm that specializes in business and corporate litigation. I don't know what that reason would be. He probably just opened a phone book in Dallas and called up a law firm in Tyler. That's probably what happened.
Totally no sarcasm there.
Yeah, Vic probably just was like, you know what? I'll just pick the first law firm in the book in Dallas.
Right? And or put the finger on the random one, like in the yellow pages, right? Just kind of, I guess we'll stop here.
I'll call him up. And it's probably because no one else in Dallas would want to take his case. I mean, who on earth would want to take the case of a prestigious voice actor who's worth $4 million, right? That's what you guys said. And there's Sony's pockets to go after, and Rooster Teeth and Funimation's pockets to go after. And oh my goodness, by the way, he's got a crowdfund set up where he's looking like in just one day he raises 10 grand, 17 grand, something like that, in a day from someone else. Like, yeah, it was probably a random selection, y'all. It was probably just a mistake that he picked a business litigation team 2 hours away from Funimation Studios rather than a private personal injury defamation attorney in Dallas. Because the term ambulance chaser, by the way, your negative stereotypes of lawyers doesn't fit your narrative, you morons. If there were an ambulance chaser in Dallas and they had a guy who's made a bunch of money at conventions for the past 2 decades, you think they wouldn't take that case and at least say, give me $25,000 and let me get started? Oh my goodness, you don't know the lawyers that you stereotype. Of course they would take that case. But maybe it's funnier to have a business litigation team who's prepared to negotiate with corporate entities and talk to them in the nature of business rather than the nature of personal injury. Keep your calculating strategies going, guys. It's going well for you. You've really nailed all of the cards in this deck so far. Just take a look at your track record and analyze your statements again and see how you're shaping up. I love how the goalposts have moved so far now that well, first, of course, there was no lawsuit was ever going to happen. Oh. He wasn't going to lawyer up. Now it's, well, these aren't the right types of lawyers.
Why do they even bother? I really don't understand why they even bother like trying to discredit what's going on. They should just be preparing for it and like stop wasting their time. Like, why get off Twitter and stop wasting your time with 1,000 tweets a day and actually start preparing for reality.
Yeah, it's I think the reason that they bother is because they have to convince themselves that they're correct. They have to do it. Because if they're wrong, it's devastating.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. It's probably that. Probably also they're talking to each other behind the scenes and they'll like bring up what each other are posting and whatnot. It's probably some whole little clique. That's what if I had to guess, you know? I don't know. That's the vibe I get from these VAs. It just seems like there's some weird clique going on with a lot of them.
Yeah, it sure does. Well, I'm gonna burn through it. We've got a bunch of super chats again. Thank you so much for that. We had over 5,000 people at one point, like 5,200 people watching the stream. It's crazy. Thank you. And I'm gonna go through a lot of these chats right now.
Yeah.
So Hero, stay as long as you want, my man. And if you have anything to add to any of these super chats, please do not hesitate. Yeah,
I'll let you know. I'll probably stick around for 10 minutes. I want to try to crash around midnight, so we'll see.
Sounds good, buddy. Son of the name I can't pronounce, Micdal, ask Hero Hei what he thinks of the Ruby manga.
It's pretty good, actually. I like it. I think they did a good job on it, to be honest.
Well, there you go. JP Gratakis, for your 40K sub show, would you talk about what you think it would be like to be a barrister under the Imperium? Yeah, that'll be great. Bo Stoker says, Nick, you don't always need to say Rooster Teeth. You can say cockbite. It's literally what Rooster Teeth means. And hopefully they're going to eat some Vic D, so factually true. Christian Harper says, what are the VA motives behind the Vic witch hunt? I mean, there's tons of motives. One is fear that it could for the men, fear that it could happen to them. And if they're not on board with the women, that they need to go ahead and if they're not on board with the women, then they need to be then they're a target, right? Like that's one of the things that they've got to do. The other motivation is virtue, fan clout, right? It's working. They got lots of likes and shares. I don't know that it pays off in the long run, but that's what they want. I think, I don't know. Otherwise, it's just delusion. And these people do not think ahead. It's demonstrated over and over and over again. Okay, Keck7Go says, Nick, be nice to Miles Luna. He's a lovable goofball and not the brightest bulb out there. That's apparent. Duralex said Lex. SJWs have to publicly declare that they're enforcing the narrative upon their newly conquered territory. They can't help themselves. All must submit. There is no negotiating. JP Gotrakits says she wants to help survivors, but she means servitors. Duralex said Lex says SJW delenda est. That's Latin that I don't understand. JD 1989. Without Ron, Monica would be a crazy cat lady like most SJW women. And to be fair, without Monica, so would Ron. Zero Depressive says, keep speculating, Nick. It will drive Shane crazy. Shane is probably speculating how to have a job.
I wonder if he watches these streams sometimes. Like he's just sitting there like, "Arr," you know,
yelling from his poor battered chair.
Give me a soy milk. Or that's hard the girl in there, right?
I want to have him on stream again to see how much of that shoe he's eaten.
That's funny.
Andrew Collins says Nick and Hero. She's a VA for Genlock. This is Monica. She voices Raquel Marin. Spoilers: it is assumed later she's killed off on episode 6, but can't be confirmed yet. However, regardless, Colonel is a semi-main character. These hands says Nick, can you please clip the bit where you talk about joining the Control Left and put it on your channel? That stuff needs to be spread around everywhere. It is that insightful. I don't know. Someone probably will. I don't know. Brandon B says this is why Masterson is wrong on apologies. No. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think he has a more nuanced approach, and his is entirely money centric. But my opinion is never apologize. Memology 101. Hey, buddy, says I have live streaming enabled again on my channel. Anytime you want to use my channel for a live stream to reach even more people, you're welcome to. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. The Dark Insignia says, last name missing, says, message for everyone saying that Monty's girlfriend killed him and Rooster Teeth left him to die. Shut the F up and stop disrespecting the dead and people affected. I don't know anything about that, but definitely don't.
I didn't see anyone saying that, but I might have missed it.
Definitely don't disrespect the dead. I mean, who would want to disrespect such wonderful people as Stalin and
Bro, people are you're gonna have like a 10-minute compilation video.
Yeah. Say la vie. Jonathan Dewey says, told you I'd do it. I'm drunk and drinking Blanton's bourbon. Ever heard of it? I have heard of it, but I haven't had it. If so, what are your thoughts? Oh, yeah, what's up?
I was gonna say shout out to drinking. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But and always have fun. Guys, drinking drives these people crazy. It's so funny to me. Like, how dare you do something in your home as an adult? Yeah. I love what you do, and I love your demeanor. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Anime Mun says, since feminism is a religion, should this be viewed as a ritual sacrifice? Also, Monica Rial is buds with Amanda Wynn Lee, who worked with Brianna Wu. Well, I'm sorry for that. Shanksy B says, did you get my tag with the archive post where Marchie said she had no evidence to back up her claim? No. I mean, I'm sure it's somewhere, but my Twitter is exploding, and it's hard to follow all of it. Eric Rader says, Nick, do you think Funimation and A&N will survive? It depends on how they play their cards, right? Play your cards, all right. Live to talk about it. That was from Big Trouble in Little China, so it was not offensive. Imagine Hatter said, I would donate more, but I'm super broke. Oh, thank you, buddy. Don't do that on my behalf. Hell donated and said, once the lawsuit starts, celebrate with me. Let's play some God Eater 3 on Steam. That would be funny. I've never played it. It seems kind of weird. It's that weird style where everybody's got a weapon that's bigger than a car. Bigger than Shane's apartment. Soviet Doge says, man, I really like Ruby and Rooster Teeth in general, but watching all this just kind of hurts. Like, I thought people could generally act better than this. Yeah, we all think people can act better than this, and then they go ahead and just ruin a career. So
you're not the only one who feels that way, man. A lot of us are there with you. It sucks, but at the same time, it's good to know the truth.
Exactly. John Albert says, has Viz Media said anything about Vic? I have no idea if they've said anything. If they're smart, they haven't said anything. Man with them 9 says, why is Legal Eagle such a soy boy zoomer? I mean, that's the eternal question. I don't know. PGN White Knight, would love to see you collab with Leonard French and YouTuber Law sometime. Maybe. They're on different subjects than I am right now, so it's hard to say. YouTuber Law and I have talked a couple times about it, but he's doing that FTC thing. And I've been covering this stuff. So 6 Degrees from Misty says, I really enjoy your show, bro. Thanks. Also, is it just me that thinks you look like Tim Blake Nelson? I don't know who that is. But,
me neither.
I'll have to give you my expert opinion on my own looks later. Qua Firms 19 says, it's pronounced Quay Firm. I got it close. I'm new and just curious. What's your favorite video game and why? Battletoads. Because of all the time.
What the hell is that?
Whoa, how young are you?
I'm in my 20s.
Oh, see, that explains it. Battletoads is a rare production. 1997? No, 1992, I think, on Nintendo. Normal Nintendo. It is a fantastic game. Absurdly difficult.
I played Frogger. That had a toad in it, or a frog in it.
That
was pretty good.
Go look yourself up some Battletoads, my friend.
I made it across the street like 2 times in that game.
That's a tough thing to do. Yeah. Kuro Beat Boop says, I grew up with the Breath of Fire series on SNES. I loved Blue Hair for the longest time until SJWs ruined it. Yep, absolutely. The Dark Bunny Rabbit says, tried to talk to a guy who claimed to be reasonable and had proof. Oh yeah, that was the just saying guy. But in the end, he just kept screaming at me that that hugs constitute assault. No joke. Of course, that's a meme going around on their side. Is that well, we'll just have civil conversation. We just want to get to the truth. Of course, Vic Mignogna molested all these people, but we just want to know the truth. And how dare you say anything mean, you mad bro. Forever229 says, you should mod at Supergirl. She's, parentheses, I hope it's a she. I honestly never know in this day and age. Been doing great work. Thank you very much. The Lewisburg Top Commander says, fight the good fight, Nick. Holy Dragon says, man, watching you for a good time really makes me want to go to law school myself. And it's feeding my old childhood dream of wanting to be an attorney. Best of luck to you. If I can help out with that, please let me know. Mithran Emmer says, no statewide protection for sexual orientation in Texas, but some cities and counties have it in ordinances. Houston, Austin, Harris County, Travis County, etc. Thank you, Mithran, for being a legal authority in Texas. Oscar Martinez says, is there any possibility to get Vic on one of your streams and talk about the situation without talking about any legal matters? I think at this point that's unlikely. Unlikely. I'd love to for both selfish and unselfish reasons, but I think he's probably going to keep radio silent for now. It depends on how long this goes, though, right? Maybe if this thing gets drug out for a year, he starts to talk and defend himself in public. Ampathos guy says, I'm a shark. Rick Nikita says, I'm Nick Rekieta and I support communism. Wait a minute. Forever229 says, retweeting Renfamous is like effing a cow with autism, Down syndrome, and Luke. It says Luck Gehrig's disease. I think it means Lou Gehrig's disease.
I thought when I heard cow, it was bad enough, and then you went on and on and on.
Well, he apologized. In parentheses, he says, I'm sorry, I'm drunk. So there you go. That might explain it. Mythos Irving says, even the beer goggles isn't saving that one. Mythos Irving says, let the darkness grow. All hail Mandar. Sweetie Squad rise up. Shout out to Medicare. SMS Corks 89 says, list of known Kickfix supporters in Rooster Teeth. Miles Luna, Shannon McCormick, Jen Brown, and Aaron Zeck. Also, Red vs. Blue put Rooster Teeth on the map. Yes, that's what I've heard. Axel KH says, regarding your comment, getting help from others with a license, please be careful accidentally sending it to a Kick Vic supporter. I want him to win all. Yeah, well, you know, if here's the thing. If a licensed attorney starts talking to me about doing work, then they would be put under their attorney, you know, professional ethics. They'd be acting in a professional capacity. And even if they were a Kick Vic supporter, they would be committing an ethics violation to work actively opposed after a discussion that they have with me. So I don't think most attorneys are going to do that. And I haven't seen a Kick Vic supporting attorney. Despite all the internet lawyers out there on the control left, it'd be real easy, you'd think, if I'm so incompetent and I'm the only attorney talking about this, you'd think they could find one attorney out there to say, oh, I don't know about any of this.
That's a good point.
You'd think one guy would do it. Just one. Anywhere. I think they might be hedging those bets. Scary things are scary, says Nick. Scrape the cottage cheese pearls from Monica's flabby batwing labia lips. Gross. That is disgusting. Oh my god. Chapter Master Dante says, when you hit 40K, I better see an Aquila on the stream. Also, which is your favorite chapter in Primarch? My favorite chapter, I keep going back and forth on this, man. Because I say Grey Knights and people don't call them a chapter. And I say Custodes and people don't call them a chapter. So I think Modern 40K. Flesh Terrors are hilarious, so I like them. Favorite Primarch. Vulcan, man, he's funny. So strong, big, dark. You know I have a penchant for that, I guess. Rax the Hero says, Vic was the English voice of the gloriously majestic king of the underworld, Mard Greer Tartarus. These lying, mindless, beta-born losers, drama-hungry fools, and hive-minded plebeians have opened the gates of hell and will now know agony. Hashtag I stand with Vic. Sakaki Onsai says, remember, folks, workplace romances do not work. Not in the Pound Me Too era. Plus, you may end up with someone like Monica or Shane.
Sakaki Onsai.
Mythos Irving says, if I ran a convention, I wouldn't want a stupid female hole like Monica there. Well, that's some brazen language. John Albert says, can't wait for Internet Historian does a video on Vic. Tess Monto says, seeing that Tess Holiday stuff yesterday made me sick. Firstly, because my name is also Tess. And secondly, because I've never seen a beached whale that's that far along into its decaying process. Mega Vigoroth says, what she did to that wheat field looked like when someone in Dragon Ball Z gets smashed into the ground, the crater.
What are you talking about? Like,
oh, buddy, you don't want to go down. You don't have time to go down the rabbit hole of Tess Holiday. Have you heard of Tess Holiday?
No.
Tess Holiday is
a Dragon Ball Z reference. I'm like, damn. Oh shit, I'm looking her up right now.
Yeah. Okay, you got to find her in a wheat field. Do that and then prepare the bleach, my friend. Mega Vigoroth says he was replaced a week before it was announced. There you go. So that must be at Funimation. Amphithos guy says Amphithos guy. I don't know how to pronounce that. Woodity Doodle. Jamie Marchi eats with a spoodle. Okay. That's I don't know what a spoodle is. Bash Lancet says, Broly is the actual Goku IRL. Also, I think there is possible collusion between the two, much in the same way the Patreon and PayPal did with Sargon. Hashtag I stand with Vic. I think so too. Sakaki Onzai says, oh no, you said tortious interference. Shane the Troll is coming for you after he abuses his chair. That chair has a bad rap. Did you find the wheat field picture?
No, I had to stop looking because it was grossing me out, to be honest. I saw enough.
What weight do you put on Tess Holiday? If you had to ballpark the amount of pounds that are involved in that.
Upwards of 300.
That she says she's just a lean 270. I don't know, man.
That's not that far from what I thought.
I think she's pushing $4. I
do think over 3 though, but
she has more than 300 rolls. I think each. I don't know, man. That is a beautiful creature. TLJ Screwjob says Monica equals Sienna, Sabat equals Watts, Crow is main character. Tess Monto says, I have an expired gallon of milk in my fridge, a mildly abused chair, and I'm interning at a law firm of goo and goal. Does this give me the credentials to debate you? Everybody has the credentials to debate me. Everybody does. TLJ Screwjob says Sienna was killed off in the 4 minutes on screen. Mark C says, did you watch tonight's Louder with Crowder? No, I did not. If so, what do you think of his half-Asian lawyer? Well, I like Bill. I'd love to talk to Bill on a show sometime, but I'm not familiar with how they're taking this case. I think they've got a clear case of false DMCA. Yeah, they got DMCA'd for live streaming the Oscars.
But they weren't even really quick, yeah, because I'm curious about that. They weren't actually at the Oscars, right? They were doing like their own little thing in their studio or something, or what?
Yeah, they were streaming the show of the Oscars and then doing their own stuff in front of it.
Oh, okay.
Right? Which is lots of people do this. It's like Oscar viewing parties and stuff are streamed on YouTube all the time. And so long as you add sufficient commentary, you're in fair use territory. Or if you transform the show from its original purpose and there's no confusion about like what's going on there, like you're not watching the Oscars, you're watching Crowder do the Oscars because Crowder's comedic content.
Fighting for fair use is really hard on YouTube though, which I know a lot of because I used to do like anime reactions and whatnot. But I mean, they're on a much larger scale, but I do know it's complicated. I know it's very weird. Like you gotta to make it transformative, it can't also in general it needs to be like a small portion of the main content. So like if their whole stream was just that, I don't know.
It actually doesn't have to be. So here's how DMCA claims work, or here's how they work under the statute. DMCA claim is filed, the content is taken down or whatever, and then they issue a notice to the person who made the content that gives the information about the DMCA claimant, and then you can appeal that. And so long as you do a quote-unquote good faith review of fair use.
I've done that, and I've won, yeah, against Sony, actually.
Yeah, and the original person who does it is also supposed to do a DMCA, or supposed to do a fair use analysis before they file the DMCA claim. And that's what's, I think, being missed on a lot of these corporate ones. Like CBS probably took down Crowder's stream without, or ABC or whoever it was, probably took down the stream without doing a fair use analysis, if I had to just guess. But then
they might have just been real quick about it.
Yeah, so if you appeal it, then they have a window of time to basically counter the appeal, and then they have to, according to YouTube's policies, they have to produce lawsuit documents and say they're going to sue. Now CBS or ABC or whoever it was might actually sue Crowder because both of them have pockets.
That's where I won against Sony, because they just ended up not even responding, and then it was gone after like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and here's the danger for Sony is that if you lawyered up and won that and forced them to pay your fees, your lawyer would get really expensive if Sony's paying the bill.
That's why I think they just didn't even bother with me, because it was like, they're not going to get much from me, and they had a lot to lose, so they didn't even reply. But yeah, Crowder's way different.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty expensive or extensive operation. All right. Anime Mun says, I say Vic takes all he gets and starts his own house, then calls it ADV Films to drive it all home and get their licenses. I don't think he could call it ADV Films. I think there is one somewhere out there. TLJ Screwjob says, Vic said Monty chose him. Miles replied to Monica's it happened to me non-statement. Then when someone called him out for not staying silent after firing him, Miles replied, why should I stay silent when I know my coworkers are being harassed daily? Yep. And then I got...
If you ever want to get filled in on like the Monty thing, just let me know and I can explain to you in a call.
Yeah, we should do that sometime.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a couple people talk about it. Blazian Domo, hashtag I stand with Vic, says, imagine this. Rooster Teeth and Funimation loses the case against Vic. Funny/Rooster Teeth goes bankrupt. No more funny dubs. And Genlock, Ruby get canceled. Harsh, but a prediction. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I think the more likely outcome is they come to their senses and start talking business. Motoko...
Yeah, Domo's my homie, so I'm just saying hi. What's up, Domo, if you're still here?
Yeah. And Motoko Kusanagi says, first time catching a stream, but this entire fiasco is one big oof. Yeah, I mean, this is really bad PR for them, in my opinion. Funny seems boned, and I'm ready to sit here laughing through the lawsuits with you. Everyone is utterly boned, maybe even Rooster Teeth if those VAs don't STFU quick. Yeah. Palanseer says, we hit 40K subs at least by 11/18. Omnissiah Volt, thank you so much. Yukari Kanashi 88 says, Nick, you made 40K. Congrats, dude. Papa bless. Thank you. Josh CH, hey, Nick. Did you ever get in contact with Martina over Indiegogo? She sent her a DM about the info you wanted and got to get to her 3 days ago, but she hadn't seen it. Yes, Martina and I have talked. JP, and I've told her that I am at her service if she needs any help with Indiegogo. JP Gatrotkit says, the Emperor protects. Thank you. Bleach Remix says, you just earned my sub and my money, my man. Thank you so much. DLC Forces, Lord Inquisitor reinforcements have arrived. Bad Dragonite, $4 for 40K. Get Jim on for 40K stream if you can. I'll message him. It'll probably be next week. I will announce it as soon as possible. Chapter Master Dante says, deploying Thunderhawks for celebratory flyby. You will know when to cover your ears. Sorry about your broken windows. You will not be reimbursed. TLJ Screwjob. I was always surprised how Rooster Teeth never told Aaron, to a lesser extent Barb, to shut up about Bumblebee potentially being canon. But seeing Shannon and Jen act like this makes me think Rooster Teeth just is that dumb as to let their employees run their mouths. Lily Liver says, subs for the sub god. Blue Satoshi says, is civil conspiracy the legal term for gay ops? Yes, quite literally it is. It's legal gay ops. Gawker's Death Rattle says, I think it's pronounced Miklantekuli. Maybe. That could be right, but I'll never remember that. Mark C says, have you tried Captain James T. Kirk bourbon? No, but I want some. Wayfarer says, Lagavulin 16 for the win. Yeah, I need to get another bottle. It's been a while. Devil Trigger DMC says, Nick, you are legal Jesus. Dude, like I only discovered you once his Vic stuff started, and my gosh, You and Hei are the dynamic duo of debunking BS. Well,
hey, yeah, thanks for that.
Galen Dunn says, "Hey Nick, can I come on to explain Vic and Rooster Teeth? Not tonight, buddy, because we're coming near the end of this show." TLJ Screwjob says, "I said last Nick Hero stream that Shannon was making me hate Oz, but Jen Brown is making me glad Pyrrha got turned to dust."
That's savage. Yeah, because the character CVA4 got killed off in Volume 3.
Oh, that's a rough job. Is it like Blood Sea where everybody's just getting murked left and right?
It's not at all. No, there's not a lot of characters that die in the show, but there's been more over the years. At first it wasn't like that, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe John could have used some of that as well as her armor in his arc. FYI, Nick, dust is used to fight, and arc is Jean's name. Okay, gotcha. Kyle says, F for respect for our furious leader. He obviously forces us to think this way and leads us down a path of darkness and evil. Drink for the working man. Forever229 says, is it possible to bring back the fairness doctrine? Made media lawfully neutral? God, I hope not. I don't want to ever see that. Ever. Ever. That is not... We do not want media to be... I've ranted about this before, and I'll keep it brief. Media wasn't neutral, never has been, and was more openly biased in the past. The only thing was they had to build up trust with you prior to the attempt by Woodrow Wilson and his successors to legitimize the press as a neutral, disinterested party. They never have been. They never will be. YouTube and stuff like this is a return to what journalism has always actually been, honest about where we are.
It's so annoying when people say that stuff about it, like, oh, you get your news from YouTube, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
It's such a silly point. Like, there's so many fallacies with what they're trying to say.
Right. Guys like me, guys like you, I mean, we're small players in any sort of news media sort of situation, but what we do is we stake our reputation and the relationship that we have with our audience on the line every time we get on the camera. And if we do something that they, the only thing is they build up enough trust where if we report on something that they disagree with, they trust us enough to get past that disagreement. You can't get that with CNN because you can't trust them. They've never been honest or neutral in their time, and they're only lying about it. We at least are honest about where we are on these issues. So then if we report something that's the opposite, like if, for example, I say Rooster Teeth is going to be hard to sue. I mean, despite what we've said on the stream, Rooster Teeth is still hard to sue. Now I think they're open for discovery, but you can trust that because that's the opposite position than I would normally take. I want them to be easy to sue because I want to watch them burn to the ground. I think it'd be hilarious. But that's how media was built. There are so many newspapers in every town all competing for your trust. And that's what you want. You want to trust where you're getting your information from.
On that note, I'm gonna head out now that it is midnight. Stayed a little bit longer too because these donos are lit, but can't be on too late.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, buddy. I always appreciate having your expertise on the show and keep it real. And I am not streaming tomorrow, so if you're streaming tomorrow, go check out his channel. And I will see you guys
Much
Monday.
Appreciated on that. Yeah, I will be streaming tomorrow. I don't know what exactly yet. Probably something related to Vic, but depends on the news that comes out. But yeah, thank you for having me, man. I mean, hopefully helped you out a little bit with the Rooster Teeth stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to tell you more about Monty in that letter, but we'll do that another time. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll do that on a call, man.
All right, definitely.
Talk to you later,
guys, you have a good one, and chat, you have a good one as well. I'll see you guys around. Peace out.
Peace. All right, let's I'm gonna ditch the headphones. Whew. Oh, I can hear myself so much better. All right, let's burn through these. Barry Blutnick, congratulations, guys. Thank you for the shows. Thank you so much. Richie Gonzalez says, you done goofed, Shannon? Forever229 says, Musk is a must. Axel KH, the Twitter posts you've been reading better be archived. They are. But they're not down yet, so I've just used the regular ones. Chapter Master Dante says, Hero, when I first saw your channel, I thought you went by Hero Yui. Speaking of which is your favorite Gundam... Speaking of, which is your favorite Gundam mobile suit? Oh, he's gone, man. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. Dorby says the food poisoning analogy defense checkmate. Stand with Vic says Shane Holmberg's Twitter. Oh, come on. Do you want me to do that? Maybe at the end. Maybe at the end. Gabriel Eving says an Ebola outbreak usually isn't even the fault of the restaurant. You effing morons. Generally, it's the fault of a distributor, which is why you have an outbreak. You don't buy that product, period. Right. Exactly. Dan with Vic says Shane Holmberg's. Oh, wait, no. I just read that one. Ear Juice says Shane Holmberg DMs linked. I DM'd you on Twitter. Yeah, I saw those. That guy's just a walking laugh fest. Panda Palace. I am reading the Streamlabs donations along with the YouTube super chats. They're all just happening. That's the list I'm going through right now. Kiwi Farms. Hey, buddy. You caused me some trouble today. Pensacon. Just kidding, of course. Pensacon, shout out to the homeland, which find ways to get in trouble without me living there. P.S. Remember to archive everything. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I had Josh from Kiwi Farms on last night, and then I get a phone call in the middle of my day. Here I am hanging out with my family, trying to get my house ready because I've got to do some traveling, and I get a phone call from a weird old I don't know, baseball mitt or whatever. And he says, is it ma'am? I think it's ma'am. It's ma'am. Asks me if I represent LolCow Incorporated. Which, no, I don't represent LolCow Incorporated. Not at all. So then this silly thing asks me if I have an opinion on the fact that LolCow Incorporated participates in the targeting and doxing and harassment of targeted individuals. And of course I respond, I don't care what LolCow does. Why would I care about what they do over there? I'm not their lawyer and I'm not an owner of the site. I don't have any monetary connection to them at all. So then he's like, well, but do you think it's their First Amendment right to go after people and target them and kill them, or whatever they said? I don't even remember. And so then at this point, of course, I must take on my professional role. Are you trying to hire me? Are you trying to hire me against lolcow.com? So, because I'm thinking money, Josh. You don't want none of this. You don't want none of this. If the price is right, I will find whatever VPN mega cuck server you're behind, and I will serve you all of the sorbet along with the papers. You can't hide from me across this stupid planet. I will track you down. So I'm thinking money. I say $15K to continue this conversation. And this person backed down. What is this? No money where their mouth is. No backbone. Can't do anything. This person thought I would give them actual legal advice and a legal opinion about LolCow Incorporated for free. What kind of communism is this? What is this? I know you're a hard working little commie. No. You come into my house and ask for my expertise, you better pony up. 15 grand, and that's a discount to go after a legal juggernaut against Section 230, like LolCow. 15K, by the way, would have paid for like a day of consultation. I mean, it was an initial retainer, but I was hoping for that cheddar. Anyway. Caesar the King says, hugging not an issue now? What about John Lasseter? I don't know about that. Cal Drogan says, if Skeevy Andy Signier can sue good guy Vic can, there you go. Yeah, good guy Vic can sue. June Carl Guay, people who actually think hugs and kisses, the obviously platonic type, are offensive and or inappropriate, are people who actually have hard-ons doing the act. Imagine them hugging their grandparents. No. Cass C says, these people coming out against Vic remind me of Frank Burns and Hot Lips Houlihan. I stand with Vic. Comwist 907, sure they can donate to women, but Bernie? Mega Vigoroth says, bruh, compare the donations. Shane's ratio on Vic's and Jesse's GoFundMes. let's do a pulse check on the GoFundMe for Vic. Let's do that real quick. We have $84,695. I think the support for Vic is strong. I keep wondering if it's gonna taper off. It has slowed down, of course, from the initial response, but it is still going strong, and I do thank you all for that. Default settings says blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. We shall sacrifice the NPCs to Korn. Bloodreich says, notice me, lawyer senpai, you are noticed. Galudro says, hey, hi, since you have been or still are a Ruby fan, have you seen Shane Newell's letter against Rooster Teeth right after Volume 3 ended? Yes. If yes, do you want to talk about this? We talked about talking about this at a different time. Slater Danger says, I have a link that Miles or Carrie didn't like Vic. Okay, send that to me somewhere. Dogsplain says, I laughed so hard when I looked at Holmberg's Twitter. He was retweeting an opinion piece about how SCOTUS should relax public figure bits on libel and slander. I think his self-awareness meter just went into the negatives. Caleb Rosser says, that moment when you're so full of crap you have to drink soy milk to escape your lactose lack intolerance. Yes, I paid $5 to say that, then pass out. Thank you. Seth says, no more Cowboy Nick. I can only be so erect. The Texan 83 says, oh, real deep lore. I've got to do it. Vic's law firm. Here's how Texan Vic's law firm is. Now remember, these people are banking on Vic's law firm being some like random estate planning attorney, because that's who he would hire, right? Like, they do estate work, and if you don't understand why, if you're in corporate litigation, if you don't understand why a corporate litigator who wants CEOs of large corporations and businesses who have lots of money, if you don't understand why it would be attractive to have a lawyer that does both corporate litigation and estate planning, then I don't know what to tell you. If you and your big brains on the Reset era and the Pretty Ugly Little Liars boards can't put 2 and 2 together as to why a corporate litigator who is going to be in contact with multi-millionaires and their entire extended families constantly would want to have an estate planning practice and maybe manage trust funds for people who have millions of dollars to pass on intergenerationally. If you can't figure that out, then you're so far behind that you'll never ever catch up. So if you think slighting a corporate litigator as having an estate planning practice, probably not ready for corporate defamation, if that's your defense, keep drinking the soy milk of your people. It'll go so well for you when you get to court and you don't realize that their entire livelihood is based on attracting multi-millionaires. Oh my God. But let me get back to it. For the brainlets over on the boards. Here's how much these guys are Texan. Every year, this law firm hosts an annual John Wayne birthday party. They host a literal John Wayne birthday party for people to come in and celebrate the toughness of the Duke. In their own cosplay, basically. It's a Western Duke cosplay birthday party at a law firm full of millionaires. But yeah, what Vic should have done is opened a phone book in Dallas and pulled out a defamation attorney from the phone book to go after a corporate entity. Really thinking there. Remember, you guys have been right the entire time. Oh my goodness. Okay. The Texan 83 says, as a Texan, in fact, the Texan, I approve this accent and confirm it as legitimate. Zenzway says, Miles and Carrie are pretty high up there in Rooster Teeth and have been a part of Rooster Teeth for years. They have a lot of control over Ruby, so good chance they can fire people. Devil Trigger DMC says, don't weep for the stupid. You'll be crying all day. Zenzway says, they turned Ruby to garbage after S3 and people hate it now. Scottish says, I unsubbed from Rooster Teeth after being a fan/sub for 10 years. Too much lefty nonsense coming from their content. Kerman SR says, Rooster Teeth are true believers. They'll never apologize. That could be their undoing. Yoko Automata said, do you think some of them aren't sweating the lawsuit because they don't have that much money? Maybe they assume Vic will only sue Funimation, A&N, and Rooster Teeth? Again, good plan. Good plan. T Damar 380 said, if you're still watching, if you're still not embarrassed out of your mind and you're still watching this, I will say it again. If you need to talk to that counsel, if you need to talk to Vic's attorney, contact me. I can get you on the phone with the lead counsel for Vic Mignogna. I could get you past the secretary. Heck, I could probably get him to call you. I'm not joking. This isn't a joke or a grift or a ploy or anything. It is me desperately telling you. Because it's my job to do so. Get a lawyer and call the other party before you get sued out of your life. What are you thinking, perpetuating this nonsense? It doesn't even have to be public. If you asked me to keep it private, I would be obligated to do so, and I would gladly forward your call, your text, your email. I will gladly give it to Ty Beard. I'll gladly do that. I've said over and over, I'm not lying. I can call him tomorrow if you need me to. What are you thinking? This isn't like no irony, no joke. Out of Fantasyland, out of satire, out of whatever stupid game you're playing. As a lawyer, talk to a lawyer in your jurisdiction. Contact the opposing party before you get sued. It's a great way to head off potential litigation and to decrease costs for yourself dramatically. That's all I've got to say. I'm sure you won't believe me because you've never believed me so far and you think I'm just the alt-right lawyer or whatever fantasy you have to concoct in your mind to sleep at night. But think about it. Have I been wrong on any of this? And how wrong have you been on all of it? Call them. You don't have to go through me. You don't have to. You could just, their number's public. It's probably been up on the stream. I don't know. But you could just Google them. Call them. See if it's legitimate. Call them. Anyway, that said, let's get back to this. I apologize. I apologize for the divergent tangents. T. Damar says, Funimation is Shane's chair at this point. Just why? Moist John. Rooster Teeth has half the views it did only about a year ago. Also, Shane's chair chan when? We need a 24-hour IRL streaming of Shane's chair. Kerman SR says, is Vic's vs Funimation lawsuit MK2? Or is Vic versus Funimation lawsuit Mark II? It could be. I guess we'll find out. Sakaki Onzai says, just saw someone on YouTube is trying to get you disbarred. They just can't give you up. It's been a year now. It's a year now. Mythos Irving says, it's okay, Monica. Let me hold your hand as I prep the bull, Ron. Oh, gross. Mythos Irving says, the bull being Jamie. Galudro says, Ron Toye, more like Ron Tool. Jesus Max says, my balls hurt. Brainybug 1 says, thanks for all the great streams lately. Follow-up hypothetical. Let's say I DMCA'd a video of someone pleasuring himself onto an image that I held the copyright to. In what ways could I fight his fair use defense? I mean, that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be really, really tough. If you need more than a hypothetical, you got to DM me and I'll refer you to a guy who can tell you. But I think you've got a really uphill battle on that one. Really uphill battle. Okay. Shanksy B says, did you get my super chat about Jamie? I didn't hear it. I think I did. But in the meanwhile, since you sent that chat, Marcus W says, I love it when you and Hero Hei collaborate. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I never pulled up the early super chats. Where are those? The earliest super chats on this. Let me get those pulled up. Okay, so the early super chats before the stream. I missed these. Scary Things Are Scary says, Nick, is it legal to set up a GoFundMe for Shane's chair? Only the knowledge of our supreme leader in the Vic Army will do. Cheers, master of the bar. Only if you get Shane's chair's consent, which is probably more than we can say for Shane. Mr. DJ Fly High says, will you guys be covering Shane Newville's letter? Not tonight. I think after what we've seen so far, this drama validates Shane's letter. I'm going to talk to him about that. That's not really my expertise. DXDKJ High School DXD says, I love Ruby. It's my favorite anime. If Vic sues him and ends up owning Rooster Teeth, I hope he takes you over the writing. Moist John, can we get a Shane's chair chan? We need to save her from the abuse. Darwin Smith says, tardy profligates like you belong on a cross. I apologize. And then that's where they picked up. Okay. Okay, back to the chats that we have. Where are we? Taco Jones, have you looked for an old suit with a similar point? No, I haven't yet. This is a hard one to do because we're moving in Twitter land here. Twitter hasn't been around all that long, and people's reputations weren't actually destroyed on Twitter in this way. So it's hard to find parallels. Y says SJW delinda est equals Latin for SJWs must be destroyed. Thank you for the Latin lesson, sir. I remember the chat from before. Talonseer says Cathargo delinda est is a reference to the Roman Senate's stance on Carthage. Carthage must be destroyed, salted earth, that sort of thing. Thank you. John Albert says Shane is mad because someone found out his ex-girlfriend VA. No. That's got to be a troll. Who's his ex-girlfriend VA? Can someone tag me on that? Mythos Irving says, I won't disrespect the dead. Press S to spit on Stargon Stillborn. Oh, man, that's... You guys can make that joke. I won't. My wife and I went through 3 miscarriages. You know, I will never tell someone not to make a joke, but that's not one that I would participate in personally. Big Hee says, this is all you got. Funimation, Vic is disappointed. Funimation killed Ocean Dub. Funimation's supposed to be the strongest, but now Vic's strongest, and now you die. Vic Mignogna, the legendary Super VA. Jonathan Frank says, Tau is greater than Imperium. Greater good. Gross. Gross. No thank you. Marcus says, when I'm in the area, I will visit with a 12-year-aged Yamazaki or Blue Label, another whiskey lover. Yeah, man, that would be great. That would be great. Landoname says, Funimation service is total garbage anyway. Got rid of my subscription. If you watch a lot, pirate my friends. My legal obligation is to say no pirating. No pirating. Don't do that. Let Funimation go under. F them. Nick, I started a band. Give me your blessing, please. That's from Solomon Gumball. Solomon, you have my blessings. May your band be profitable and heard worldwide. John Albert says, Hero, I love to talk to you about the Ruby card game on one of your phone call live streams. It's a really fun game. The Real Esper says these VAs are like a horde of orcs. Just replace all their SJW words with Wa and Daka. It works to a terrifying degree. Let's see. Gizmo Hibiki says, bruh, I'm 25 and even I know what Battletoads are. I mean, that was a little shameful, but you know. Holy Dragon says, just want to leave this extra donation, man, and shout out to Battletoads. Thank you. I'll have to do, on the 24-hour stream, I'll have to do Battletoads, right? We'll have to figure that out. SJ Jar Jar Binks says, Rick, Give me access to a dead donkey, 5 feet of garden hose, an egg beater, a fursuit, 20 gallons of canola oil, and 6 used condoms, and I'll make this Vic thing go away. Also an espresso. It's late. Hessian says, Nick's impersonation of Rooster Teeth's fictional lawyer sounds exactly like Leonard Church. Bernie needs to smack them around a little. Ask Hey about Church if you don't know the character. Sound of one hand clapping. I remember you saying California Sony execs would hate being deposed by a thickly accented Texan lawyer. Do Beard and Company have thick accents? Not only do Beard and Company have thick accents, because they're East Texas. They're the deep South. The East Texas lawyers. What time is it? We don't even have Oz in the lexicon. Yes, they have thick accents. And those belt buckles I mentioned were legitimately real. Eyes of the Wolf 101 says, to stand upon the bedrock of the law is our great duty. To presume to stand above it is our worst heresy. Adeptus Arbites. Kiru Reaper says, the heresy level on this world is high. Get the exterminatus. See, I'm going to be unrelatedly in Tyler very, very soon. Maybe I'll stop by Beard and Harris and get a selfie. I will not be in Tyler to go to Beard and Harris, but maybe since I'll already be there, I'll see if I can get a selfie with a lawyer or two over there. I think that would be funny. Kira Reaper says, the heresy level on this world is high. Get the exterminatus. Caesar the King says, thoughts on John Lasseter's situation? Similar. I'm not familiar with that situation. I'll have to look into it. Crusaders Arkan says, me and a friend are working to start our own animation game studio one day. For my talent stack to contribute, I was gonna go to law school to be our legal expert, but I've decided on paralegal since I don't want to litigate. Any recommendations in this? Just don't believe as a paralegal that you have the same training as a lawyer. You don't. Your skill sets will be different. Now, you can be a legal researcher as a paralegal, and you can do that very competently. Just be careful you don't get a different idea about your ability. That's not a slight to paralegals at all. That's only a slight to Russell Greer. Unspoken Old One says, the answer to the best chapter is the Angry Marines. They are funny. The Marines Malevolent are legitimately hilarious too. And I don't think Angry Marines aren't canon, but I think Marines Malevolent are. Right? Critical 233 says, you must construct additional pylons. Bo Stoker says, drop my Rooster Teeth. Left a note, they taught me, take your current age minus 10 years. Were you smart back then? No, you were GD dumb. Fact of the matter, you're just as dumb now. It's only going to take you 10 years to see it. Mythos Irving says, my super chat has been recorded by Monica and sent to her lawyers and law enforcement. She will not be called a female hold. Thank you and good night. Good job for her. Pub Test says, Crowder's Oscar stream was professional and entertaining. Completely different to what Disney ABC were broadcasting. Of course it was. The Spawning Pit says, this is kind of out of left field, but I was wondering why the animosity against Ruth Bader Ginsburg. As someone that doesn't know a whole lot about people in the legal field, I don't get why. Sorry for the tangent. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in suggesting what a country should do if they wanted to write a new constitution, said you should not look to the Constitution of the United States, but rather a more modern endeavor, like maybe South Africa. That's why Ruth Bader Ginsburg needs to sunset peacefully in her sleep of natural causes after voluntarily retiring from the Supreme Court. The idea that a U.S. Supreme Court justice would suggest that a horrifically genocidal regime like South Africa has a better constitution than the United States Constitution, which is not only the longest running, most successful, and highest freedom producing constitution ever created, that they would suggest that South Africa's constitution of positive communism, of redistribution based on race, that would be a better thing. This is a Supreme Court justice whose duty it is to interpret and uphold the U.S. Constitution. That was her answer. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, stop pretending to be alive. Mythos Irving, I also discovered you because of Vic. Thank you so much. I'm glad we were able to make that connection. Mr. DJ Flyhigh, have you seen Shane Newville's letter? I've seen it. I haven't really read it. It shows that RT animation plays by a different set of rules. After seeing the Vic's drama, it validates it. Blue Core says, Kick Vic are trying to pressure GoFundMe to shut down Vic's page by sending them handwritten letters. Lying to supporters saying GFN will pocket funds. Yeah. Guys, if the GoFundMe gets attacked and shut down, I know a team of litigators who's very, very interested in that GoFundMe. I'm just saying, it would be very silly for people to interfere with it. It would be very silly for GoFundMe to shut it down. It would be very, very silly for them to shut it down because immediately, especially with a handwritten, self-authenticated letter that was sent through the mail, I don't want to be on the bad end of that litigation. And GoFundMe doesn't either. Shanksy B says, DM'd you archive links to what I was talking about. Thank you. Al donated and said, how much do you make a night? Law, which is more lucrative, lawyering or streaming? Depends on the night, buddy. Depends on the night. Mythos Irving says, Daddy, no! Those guys says, by the way, what stream service do you use aside from YouTube? I use StreamMe. YouTube and StreamMe at the same time. I have a Twitch, but I just have not had time to be on Twitch, but you can find me over there on the rare instances where I do Twitch stream. Not Sandow says, Bulma, no! Mythos Irving says, Kick Vic's about to visit Ram Ranch. Get futched in legal fees, Daddy, no. Hamza Z says, love the channel, Nick. Final Fantasy fanboy question. Who'd win in a fight, Cloud Strife or Squall Leonhardt? Cloud. Please. Meximan and Cheese says, some VAs called Larry H. Parker. Get wrecked, Vic. Then of the End says, garbage day. There you go. Plasma Owl says, Christy in a burger. You're the Ben Shapiro of this. You're the Ben Shapiro of this. I'm loving the plot. Comedic writing's nectar to my ears. Oh, IRL. Evolution, don't take prisoners. Mythos Irving says, sorry, Nick, I apologize for the stillborn joke. Truly, I meant it. I mean it. No, and I am not offended. I am not offended. Don't worry about it. It's years ago. It happened. However, all I'm saying is that that is not a joke I would personally make. But I will never, ever, no matter how horrible, I will never tell someone not to make a joke because levity is how we deal with it. Levity is how I deal with our own. But, you know, that's just my personal thing and the experiences that my wife and I had. I'd stay away from that comedy. But I would probably laugh at that type of joke in the right setting. So I'm not, again, no judgment on my end and no need to apologize. Blaine says North Carolina is trying to require bicycle registration. Well, as long as they don't do gun registration because you don't have a Second Amendment right to a bike. Mythos Irving says, also sorry for your loss. Truly, the thing about jokes is sometimes you go too far. You didn't go too far, buddy. Don't worry about it. Scary Things Are Scary says, what's your favorite Castlevania? I love NES. I like Castlevania too, but Symphony of the Night's my favorite. I just like it. Crusaders Arakan says, as long as being a paralegal allows me to review contracts and clauses and assist any hired lawyer in possible litigation, maybe give legal advice, I'd be okay with that. I'm not suited for litigation, nor can I feasibly afford law school. Those are good considerations to make. But most lawyers are not litigators, and dare I say most lawyers are not suited for litigation. Blaine says, Yamasong in theaters next month, must see. Nightmare35 says, obligatory reminder, VAs are not their characters. And finally, Solomon Gumball says, Nick play EYE, suffer through the cycle. We'll see about that. Let me hit the stream me chats for the last time. And then we will wrap up the stream, I think. I think it's about time we do that. We've got Crackbot says the unsubscribe button was working as of yesterday since I was able to unsub. And I'm sure they've been working to fix it as soon as they got notice that people noticed. I just find the timing very strange. I'm not sure about even the possibility of it happening by accident. Chaotic Vic says, hey, Nick and Hero, thanks again for defending Vic. Here's a gem from Shane over on Twitter for you. Quote, looks like someone who shall not be named has a discovery issue with 2 production studios. From Hero's Tale Taverners. What's the discovery issue, Shane? Thought I wasn't going to get to discovery. Crackbot says a good rule for any company should get from this is get woke go broke. And that is a fine place to wrap up this stream. Let's talk about what comes next. Tomorrow, I will be traveling. I will not be able to live stream. Saturday, I don't know if I'll be able to stream on Saturday. I don't normally, but sometimes if I don't stream on Friday, I would stream on Saturday. Sunday, I probably will not be streaming, but it's maybe. Don't know. Don't know what my days look like. Monday, I will be streaming. Monday, I will actually be a guest, I believe, on the Kill stream prior to my stream for at least some point in time. I'm not sure exactly what time or for how long. I will be on there for a little bit, and then I will come do my show after that. So let's see. I mean, I've heard so much about what's going on at the Kill stream. I've not had time to watch it or follow up on it. I'm just getting blasts from different people. So I guess maybe it's time to go find out myself. There were two more chats. Bo Stoker says, lastly, favorite and least favorite Zelda. You are being judged. My favorite Zelda was Link, Zelda 2. And my least favorite Zelda is Link to the Past, just because I sat there and watched a buddy play it over and over and over again. And I got tired of it. Mythos Irving says, for reference, I was making the joke because V was being an idiot trying to own Jim and said it was okay to make stillborn jokes about his friends stillborn. Yeah, I remember the lore. I remember the lore. Again, you're fine. You're fine. You're not hurting me at all. All right, guys. That is it. I think. Oh, and I mentioned in the description, so I have to say this so it's not misleading, that I've been attacked by control left communists. And of course, I'm talking about that one idiot who called me and asked me to go against the lolcow Incorporated, and then apparently called the Minnesota Lawyers Professional Responsibility Board, and will, I guess, be filing a complaint for my rampant racism, transgenderism, and alt-rightism, or whatever it is that they've picked. Okay. Okay, I guess I can't stop anybody from doing something stupid, but that's what they're gonna do. I have also been, my good name has been slandered and plastered all over Reset Era and Pretty Ugly Little Liars, and they are trying to ruin my sterling reputation. So I guess the commies will win, comrade. I will be backing off. I go full Rooster Teeth, and Anime News Network is only good publication, okay? No more looking Kiwi Farms. No more following Vic Mignonia. Only drink vodka. Trust me, we will be state-provided vodka. You cannot distill your own. Do not be crazy. No. We don't want that at all. But I will say the Pretty Ugly Little Liars are pretty ugly, and they, of course, they are right in everything. We do not want any sort of independent thought. Reset Era is always correct in banning. Approved speech always approved on Reset Era. The glorious leader and the grand party is, of course, what is right and good in the world, and any other way to do it is wrong. Do not be thinking this way. Mythos Irving says, Nick, no! All right, guys, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me. Peace out. I will see you Monday at the latest. I will try, and if I can get a photo op with the elusive tie beard, I will see. We'll measure beard lengths, and we'll have a beard fight and have a selfie, and I'll post it on the Facebook post thing, or the YouTube post thing, and probably on Twitter. So thank you guys. Have a nice night. I'll see you soon. F says you're the man. Thank you. I'm trying to end the stream, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Peace.